We'll save you money on car insurance.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
What? You call Geico!
This house is definitely too large.
But it looks so perfect online.
Finding a new home shouldn't be this hard. An experienced RE/MAX agent can help find the home that's right for you. Nobody sells more real estate than RE/MAX.
Day after day, you test your blood if you have diabetes, but if you don't code properly, your readings can be up to 43% off. With Bayer's Essentia Contour Meter, there's no coding needed, so you get the information you need every single day.
Soto & Partners.
McPhee & Associates. King Brokers.
Hello.
Hi.
Now with free incoming plans from Sprint Business, it's easier to say yes when customers call. And with our buy one, get one free deal, you and your company can say yes. Sprint Business gives you free incoming calls from all phones, all networks, all the time. So you can make just about any place a workplace. Call 888-863-9835 or visit a Sprint or Nextel store today. Sprint Business. Yes, you can.
Hurricane Rita. For live reports from the scene and up-to-the-minute tracking of this massive storm, turn to MSNBC and the NBC Weather Plus team.
Welcome back to MSNBC. I'm Alexis Glick.
And I'm Contessa Brewer. Thanks for joining us this Thursday. We typically bring you Market Wrap at this hour, but we are preempting it today for continuing coverage of Hurricane Rita. The storm is now a Category 4, down from a Category 5, but it's still very dangerous. And the track has also changed slightly throughout the day. We'll have the latest on where it's heading coming up.
We're awaiting the start of a news conference just in a short while from New Orleans with Mayor Ray Nagin. The big issue in that city is the levee system, whether or not some of those levees could potentially break. Our affiliate WDSU in New Orleans has been covering that story all day as officials worry that significant rainfall from the hurricane could cause another round of major flooding.
Meanwhile, one of the key issues in Texas, the evacuations are causing massive traffic delays. Our NBC affiliate KPRC has been on top of that story here. Let's listen to a news conference now via KPRC.
Making those evacuation plans. Monitor the media. There will be advisories that we put out from time to time today. And then I want to ask my colleague Judge Eccles to comment on some of the things that we're doing with TxDOT to remedy this problem that was outside Harris County or city's jurisdiction.
Again, as the mayor mentioned, Harris County has worked and the city and the metro all together working to try to improve the flow, open HOV lanes or contraflow lanes on the freeways. Harris County working with the sheriff's office, Sheriff Thomas, who was here earlier, as we were working on the issues, and the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office has dispatched officers to man the ramps on the Katy Freeway, and we just watched as the Katy Freeway was opened from Highway 6 to Sealy and continuing on to Sealy to Seguin with the contraflow lanes, and that happened just in the last few minutes. We were able to watch that as we were coming downstairs. So we're pleased that those two bottlenecks are starting to be relieved. So as the day progresses and folks start coming out of their vehicles, these traffic jams, we know we still have problems with stalled vehicles. We know we still have problems with fuel on the road, or people without fuel. We are working to address those issues as well. We do not want people to spend the night on the freeway. We do want to get folks into safe harbor between now and the time the storm is expected to be ashore. At least with the tropical force winds in late Friday afternoon or Friday evening. So we'll continue to keep you updated on that. I think that Dr. Purse is going to give us some medical.
Let me do one thing before Purse. There's a piece of this that people should know. There's heroic efforts being made in this community to evacuate people, and have been made for less, since Tuesday. From assisted living facilities, people needing acute medical care, and also just those citizens who've called into the 311 lines that we've been given who needed assistance getting out, who had no independent means of transportation. Metro has transported almost about 2,800 from a Polk Street transfer station. 3,800 have been dispatched with bus from the Sam Houston racetrack in various populations, prioritized based on the needs for assistance. The 4,000 calls that were received by the 311 all but 400 of those calls have been serviced. Some people were able to arrange station before the Metro lift got there. Others waited. There's been over 600 that have been taken from private homes. There will be further announcement concerning 311, but people needing assistance, if you're in one of those shaded areas that's been shown on TV, if your house has flooded before, we're still dealing with one of the most dangerous hurricanes in the Gulf, and we have school buses, Metro buses, others lined up for those who need the assistance the most. They're being prioritized in terms of the risk of the area they deal with. Behind the scenes, all this time, has been an incredible medical effort, and I'd like to ask Dr. David Pearce, the head of EMS, to talk about the scope of the medical evacuations that have occurred. Doctor.
Thank you, Mayor and Judge. The emergency departments and our EMS systems are very busy. They are responding to calls and taking care of folks. The National Disaster Medical System has been activated. You heard that at the earlier briefing today. The National Disaster Medical System is a program to help evacuate hospitalized patients out of an area to hospitals across the country. This does two things. One is for those hospitals that are in the storm surge area, it allows them basically to empty out so they can close down their physical plant if they feel they need to. The other thing it'll do is it'll help us create capacity within our hospital systems for after the storm, when we can anticipate that there will be an increased need for medical services then. I would like for everyone to keep in mind that while emergency departments across the city are open and that EMS is responding to calls, that they are very busy, and that we ask that you only use those services if you really absolutely need to, if it's a true emergency. Very often folks have trouble getting a hold of a doctor and will fall back on the emergency care system, and we recognize that, but this is a time to make sure that you already have your prescription medications before you get out of town, take good care of yourself, drive carefully, take care of your family members, and hopefully you'll avoid the need for medical care and lessen the load all over.
And a representative from TechDOT.
Good afternoon, Janelle Gabor. As was announced, we did get contraflow operations going on Katy Freeway, as we discussed earlier today. We are now moving traffic an entire 150 miles from the I-10 State Highway 6 intersection to Seguin, Texas, which is at State Highway 123. It's a significant accomplishment, and certainly couldn't have done it without the cooperative efforts of all the local law enforcement authorities. We do have TxDOT personnel throughout that entire 150-mile stretch manning the contraflow side to make sure that it remains a safe facility for those opposite direction travelers to utilize. We had indicated to you earlier today that we would be looking at US 290 again to see if there was some way we could get contraflow implementation for that route. That is not going to be accomplished. We are looking at 290 as being a route that we need to keep open in the inbound direction to bring resources from outside of this region into the Houston area, particularly when it's going to be critical, and that's during the hurricane event and post-event, getting in resources from other areas of the state. So at this time, we're going to leave 290 as it is. On the front of trying to get fuel and such to these vehicles that have run out of gas on the interstate facilities that we're utilizing for evacuation routes, we do have coming from Dallas area and San Antonio area, trying to get into the Houston area, fuel trucks to help provide fuel in a limited amount to those that are stranded on the roadways. It is a painstaking process to do that. These crews are fighting to get through areas that a lot of other people are trying to get through as well. But let it be known that we are trying to address those needs as well.
One final point, I have had a number of people call to ask if the entire city was under mandatory, or the entire county was under mandatory evacuation. It is not. We remind folks there are just these coastal surge areas. We have seen these hurricanes move back and forth along the coast, oscillating, if you will, from Houston down towards Corpus, now back up east of Houston. That is good news for us on the way the front would be moving. If you are in your home, you're not in a coastal surge area, you want to look at the possibility of staying, waiting a little while, let the traffic clear out. You have a little bit of time, but at the same time, those who are in the coastal evacuation zones, the storm surge zones, those are still under a mandatory order, and we'll look at a later time tonight to review that decision to see where we have a tightening up of where that storm might fall. With that, I'll turn that back to the mayor and let us take questions. Mayor.
Yeah, and we will have available and have made available to broadcast some zip codes that are in those storm surge areas which have been modeled, which are subject to storm surge. Generally, there is a higher degree of risk if you're near the open water. There's a whole band of zip codes. But there are some neighborhoods on the east side that are directly in that storm surge area or near Clear Lake where they might not have experienced flooding during rain, but they are in the storm surge area. So we'll ask you to look very carefully at the zip codes that we'll disseminate. Questions?
Mayor White,
yeah.
Why have you not been able to, or why have you not considered 59 North as a contraflow highway also?
Yeah, we refer that to TxDOT. I will note, too, that some of the attention that we paid was to the areas through helicopter surveillance were completely backlogged at different times. 59 has had different characteristics, and I'll let TxDOT representative talk about 59.
Simply put, we have to look at the resources that we have available. Interstate 45, US 290, and to a limited degree Interstate 10 are routes that were predetermined as evacuation routes for the mandatory areas within this region. Highway 59 is certainly carrying a high volume of traffic, but we had to concentrate where we could make the most effort, and that were on these defined evacuation routes. And so 59 is not being considered at this time. We are making efforts, though, to try and get traffic flow improved, and our folks from the Lufkin area, for example, are trying to render assistance in and along that corridor. It too is seeing an overflow of traffic from Highway 146, which was another evacuation route. Some of these stretches of roadway, like 59 and 146, they're not controlled access roadways, so you can't really pinch off the access points because you have a lot of at-grade crossings, and the amount of resources it would take to do that are just not going to be available in this event.
And even after
All right, you've been listening here to some emergency officials there in Texas talking a bit about the evacuations that are taking place along Interstate 45, and we've been looking at that video all day. It looks like a parking lot for miles and miles and miles. In fact, we're told that for about a 100-mile stretch here, traffic is just moving bumper to bumper. We want to go now to Galveston, Texas, which is under a mandatory evacuation order. And I know that a lot of those people, about 90%, are estimated to have left the island of Galveston. NBC's Janet Shamlian is there. And Janet, does it look like a ghost town at this point?
It really does. This community has cleared out. And Contessa, you're exactly right. The battle has changed from getting people to evacuate to helping them evacuate. They have already gotten the word. And right now the state is trying to help them in as much as they can. You heard the news conference. They've turned two major interstates, Interstate 45, which leads out of Galveston towards Houston, and Interstate 10, which leads out of Houston towards San Antonio, into contraflow, which should alleviate some of that bottleneck that we're seeing in those aerial photos. So all lanes are going in one direction. The gas shortage is a critical problem right now, not just on the interstates leading out of Galveston and Houston, but all over southeast Texas. The state is also sending in tankers to replenish some of those gas stations along the interstate. There are still the holdouts, though. We went looking for some of them in Galveston today, and the one we found was, fortunately for us, a man who ran a barbecue restaurant. He is still serving barbecue and says he is not leaving under any condition.
It is so backed up that I'd be stupid to try and, wait till the last minute and then take off that direction, because I'm a lot safer here in this particular building than I would be floating around in a vehicle, even if I was running, north away from it.
And that's the view of several thousand people in this community. The mayor says she estimates it at less than 5,000 people who are Galveston residents who remain. It should be noted on the weather watch here, surface picked up a little bit, but not significantly. The real change is in the temperature here. It's in the 90s today with a heat index well over 100 degrees, not normal for this time of year, although our meteorologists tell us that just before a hurricane, this is the type of weather that it can expect, an intense heat increase, and we're certainly seeing that here in Galveston. But Contessa, not many other people are. Most folks are leaving town.
NBC's Janet Shamley in Galveston. Thank you, Janet. And in those boxes on the screen, you can see some of the traffic. We were talking earlier about all those folks who are trying to conserve fuel because in so many cases they're running out of gas. Anyone who has had young children in the car when they get hot and frustrated.
100 degrees, you can't put your air conditioning on.
And they're stuck in traffic for hours and hours and hours on end. It must be a very frustrating situation for everyone who's trying to get out of town.
Well, let's go one more time over to Bill Cairns over in the Weather Plus Center to get another sense of how this thing is moving. And the storm is really picking up in New Orleans, starting to see some rain, right?
Yeah, the effects are rapidly moving there along the coast. Good afternoon, everyone. There's just so much to try to explain right now. In a little about half hour or so, we're going to get the new update from the Hurricane Center. This will probably be one of the most important ones because the cone is getting more narrow now, and we're continuing to watch this center line. It's been shifting towards the north and to the east as we've gone throughout the last 12 hours. And once again, I think that's going to be the case. It's a very difficult forecast because a lot of our computer models are now spread between just about, say, about Lake Charles back to Houston, but nothing really south of Houston anymore. And in that press conference, you heard the one gentleman mentioning, if you're not in one of those storm surge low-lying areas in Houston, it may not be necessary for those people to be evacuating. But obviously from those pictures, no one's taking the chance and everyone's just getting out of town. So what we're dealing with right now, the center line is kind of what we focus on, and we watch the center line shifting. Anywhere in the yellow can still be hit. I was just looking at the current position, and I'm going to estimate it to be somewhere right about here. It's on the very bottom of your screen. The only image I'm just trying to show you here is it looks like the center point, compared to their last forecast, is already north of that line. So that's one hint that the storm may be going further north and may have a landfall further east with this new update from the Hurricane Center. Another thing that's come in since we've gotten that, we've had one computer model take landfall directly into portions of Louisiana. All the others are to the east of Houston. And if any of these scenarios occurred, the worst of the weather would not be in Houston and it would not be in Galveston. It would be from Lake Charles, Beaumont, Port Arthur, and the entire southwest coastline of Louisiana is the area that would get hit the hardest. It's not as populated as an area, of course, as Houston and Galveston. There's a lot of little small towns in here. So as far as the overall population being affected, it would be much less, but we still expect a very significant hurricane. We want to show you, this is our microcast model. This is one of our exclusive things you'll see here at MSNBC and on NBC Weather Plus. Watch where this is now taking the landfall of the system. Here's the eye of the storm. It takes it almost due north. So this, by this computer model that we have, actually has landfall on the Louisiana coast and not on the Texas coast. The worst of the storm would be all the way through this whole section of Louisiana. That's where the storm surge would be. That's where the worst of the winds would be. And on the backside of the storm, we'd have strong winds out of the north, but the effects from Houston southwards down to Corpus Christi would be minimal compared to the devastation we would see right along that Louisiana coast. So for all these reasons, as I add them up and I continue to look at them, it's a very difficult forecast for the Hurricane Center, but I fully expect that track to come out in a half hour to be shifted possibly slightly more towards the Louisiana-Texas coastline. So we're going to try to keep you abreast of all this. There's a lot of information to analyze, and because of the angle of the coastline here, just the slightest shift over could take that eye wall and rake it along the central Louisiana coast. So a lot is changing. This is a very fluid situation, very difficult situation for forecasters, trying to make it the most accurate we possibly can. We didn't want millions and millions of people evacuating like they did in Floyd, you know, if they didn't have to. But after Katrina, you can't take any chances out there. So the people that are already leaving that area of Houston and Galveston, continue on your journey. If you have to return home in a couple of days and it didn't really hit you that bad, then so be it. So we'll give you the latest as soon as we get that information in.
Thanks very much, Bill.
A reminder, you can watch NBC Weather Plus 24 hours a day on your digital cable channel or the website of your local NBC station, and you can always get the forecast right here on MSNBC. Our coverage of Hurricane Rita continues after the break, and we're going to take you to New Orleans, where the mayor there, Ray Nagin, is expected to talk about the preparations his city is making once again for a monster storm. We'll be right back.
Market Wrap is brought to you by A.G. Edwards, caring for investors' nest eggs for 118 years.
There's an even better way to care for your nest egg. Objective financial advice. A.G. Edwards, for 118 years, fully invested in our clients.
Welcome. The rules in Philandistan Alvanistine are quite unique. I hope you had a chance to review them.
It's tennis. How different can it be?
It's not easy being out of your element, especially when it comes to insurance and investing. Genworth Financial and your financial professional can help you understand your choices and then make the right ones, so you'll be ready for whatever the future throws your way.
The HP Blade System server powered by Intel Xeon processors. Consolidation made easy.
Not long ago, this child might have been lost to a disease already conquered by modern science. Occidental Petroleum helped make sure a little boy had access to life-preserving medicine at this company's sponsored health clinic.
That's a 95. Here I come.
Weekends look even better at 50% off. Rent Friday to Monday, 50% off. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
MSNBC Tonight. Did the government learn a lesson from Katrina that will save lives in the path of Rita? Joe is live on the Gulf Coast, asking tough questions and getting real answers on the game plan people have for this next massive storm. Scarborough Country. MSNBC Tonight at 10.
You're looking at 4 boxes on your screen. There on the right-hand bottom corner, you're looking at the radar image of Rita as she approaches the Gulf coastline. On those 2 top boxes, you're looking at some of that massive traffic. This is in the Houston area. One of those, we know that Interstate 45, which is the main evacuation route from Galveston up through Houston and out of town, has just been packed bumper to bumper. And even though that they have switched some of the southbound lanes to northbound traffic, and that seems to have helped, in many cases, people are spending 10, 12 hours in their cars, and many of them are running out of gas before they can get to their destinations.
And coming up in just a short while, we will bring you live coverage. Mayor Ray Nagin is expected to speak in New Orleans, and we will bring you up to date with the latest with him. But before we do that, let's check in one more time with NBC's Michelle Hoffland. She is still in New Orleans as we speak on the coast there. Michelle, how does the weather condition look right now, and is the city pretty much empty?
Well, for the most part, the city is empty, except for there still are some workers here, some contractors, some telephone workers, and a number of different groups like that. Those people are still in town. We believe that most of them are living in areas outside of New Orleans, and that once the day here ends, that they are planning on heading up there and staying up there. That's pretty much what we understand. But the weather here right now, it has been changing by the minute. Right now, we see thick black clouds rolling overhead. They are bringing strong winds and also lots of heavy rain coming in this area. Throughout the day, though, we have seen patches of blue sky, but right now we see very little of that. We just see darker and darker clouds rolling overhead, and the wind is picking up. You can see, I don't know if you can see the Mississippi River from here, but the river is very choppy. The winds are swirling up the water right now, and you have to remember Rita is still 36 hours away, and the people here are very nervous about what kind of effect that is going to have on this city that is already so devastated from Hurricane Katrina a little more than 3 weeks ago. Now, the mayor here in New Orleans has ordered a mandatory evacuation. There are about 500 buses here, to 800 buses to take people out of town who still are here that need to be evacuated. A cruise ship that was here, that was housing the city workers because their houses were destroyed. That boat has taken off and headed out to sea. And then the National Guard troops have been pre-positioned out of New Orleans. The governor just did this, out of New Orleans in Baton Rouge. So they're more centrally located. Depending on where this hurricane is at, they will be ready to go.
We're anticipating, that we've got a saying in the Army, hope for the best and prepare for the worst. We're preparing for the worst, regardless of where the impact is. Whether it hits Houston hardest, it's going to affect western Louisiana in any state, and we're preparing as if it'll have consequences here in southeast Louisiana as well.
People who were never worried about hurricanes before are now worried, and they are getting out of town to be safe. Back to you.
Michelle, just one quick question. One of the things we heard a lot about yesterday was the lack of communication, that a lot of the power outages continue throughout New Orleans and many of the parishes, and the phone lines are down. So is there still some fear and trepidation that there are still people who are in their homes who perhaps don't know how bad things are?
What we understand is that the police have gone through the neighborhoods, through those neighborhoods where they know that there are some people living, and here we're getting one of those heavy rains right now. What they're doing is they're going around with bullhorns and notifying people that a hurricane is on the way. But up until today, the sky looked beautiful, and so people would have no idea that we had the hurricane on the way unless they heard the bullhorns. But now, girls over.
I think we have just lost Michelle. You were just seeing there some pictures in New Orleans of the weather is really starting to change, and you could hear that on Michelle. It almost sounded like it was hail starting to come down, and we just lost her speaking live in New Orleans just a moment ago.
They told us earlier that those New Orleans levees could really only take up to 6 inches of rain, and that they could be compromised again. And we've already been hearing reports about rising water pressure on some of those levees, and that in fact there has been some leakage there, not a major break or anything like that, but some seepage as well. So we're going to keep our eye on that. In the meantime, we're also waiting for a news conference from Mayor Ray Nagin of New Orleans as we continue to keep all the angles covered on this approach of Hurricane Rita. Stay with us.
Hurricane Rita. For live reports from the scene and up-to-the-minute tracking of this massive storm, turn to MSNBC and the NBC Weather Plus team.
What did CT say?
Heart rate's 240.
Okay, let's get it to cooking too.
SVT, get the crash cart.
It's okay. It's all gonna be okay.
Well, it wasn't until Hurricane Charlie was over the real danger began.
I'm State Farm Agent Dan Mann, and this is a true story.
I'm a diabetic, and so when the power goes out, that's real bad.
His insulin had to stay cold.
He brought me ice.
Plus a check for emergency living expenses.
Before my neighbor even heard from his insurance company. And with all the thousands of people that needed help down here, I felt like they're only one.
When you need someone most, nobody takes care of you like State Farm.
We'd love to prove it to you. Call an agent today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Know how to treat kids right with wholesome food they really like. Campbell's chicken noodle possibilities. Bite-sized chicken noodles too. Broth that savory, tried and true. Campbell's chicken noodle possibilities. Why have hot dogs or mac and cheese when Campbell's soup is sure to please? Campbell's good possibilities.
Search through hundreds of thousands of used cars across the U.S. or within a few miles. Online at bx.com. Just click Auto on Comcast.net.
Comcast is
For kids.
Ride along with the officers who make a difference with Animal Planet's heroes. Catch the wild adventures of the original crocodile hunter with Croc Files on Discovery Kids. And tune into Nickelodeon to meet new friends with Joe and Blue on Blue's Clues.
Whatever you're into.
It's on Comcast.
It's this important. You just need to be there to see it.
The pictures get more and more unbelievable with each passing day here.
Feel it.
The winds were gusting up to 120 miles an hour.
Live it.
We're going to show you some of the amazing stories of survival.
And that's why for this storm and the next, the people at MSNBC will do whatever it takes. Go wherever the story takes them, so you can be there too. MSNBC.
Welcome back. You're looking right now at, again, our 4 boxes on the screen that we have for you. The bottom right, of course, is the track that we're watching for Hurricane Rita. And we're seeing on the bottom left as well, look at that traffic. I mean, there have been 1.3 million people in Texas who've been told to evacuate. I-45 is the main evacuation route, and many of these major highways are just getting jam-packed with everyone who are trying to heed the warnings and get out of town. On the upper left-hand side, you're going to see KPRC, as you can see, a meteorologist there sharing with his viewers out of Houston where Hurricane Rita is expected to go.
And one of the things we just mentioned a short while ago, Contessa, is we heard that in the Houston area, they have opened up 150 miles of that I-45 where they now have all outbound traffic on both sides of the highway to help alleviate some of that. But there still have been people who have been sitting in their cars for, as we said earlier, 10, 12 hours, who continue to sit there. They're losing gas, extreme high temperatures, a real predicament.
And we heard earlier from emergency officials that Dallas and San Antonio are sending big gas tankers along to those highways near Houston to try and give the folks who run out of some gas some relief. Let's head over to the Weather Center now and get an update on Hurricane Rita.
Well, good afternoon. We're continuing to get the information from the hurricane hunters. And one of the things I was hoping today to be showing you was that this pressure was going to keep rising up through 920, possibly 930. It just hasn't happened. The storm has peaked last night with a pressure down in the 890s and now rose up to 913. But it's been there for about 6 hours now. So it looks like our storm, Rita, has not been weakening in the last 6 hours. It's been maintaining its strength, and that's not what we wanted to hear. We want this thing to weaken because now we're within about 36 hours of landfall. There's just not going to be enough time left for this thing to possibly weaken to a 2, maybe even a 3. We may be stuck with a 4 at landfall. They just measured a wind of 152 miles per hour in that northwest quadrant at flight level. We just had one of our reporters there on the ground in New Orleans. It was windy and it was rainy, and this is kind of not good. We got this rain moving in a training effect, just like a train, from pretty much east to due west, right over the top of New Orleans. And this is going to sit here for probably a good 3 or 4 hours as we go throughout the night. That band will move through, and then another will develop. So the rain is going to start adding up in the New Orleans area, and it's already raining hard currently. Winds are picking up there too. I want to show you what the storm looks like. Coastline of Louisiana here. Here's the eye of our storm, and unfortunately these two are going to be coming closer and closer together over the next 24 hours. You can see some of the stronger bands and those tropical storm force winds now just offshore. They'll be creeping towards the coast as we go throughout the night. The hurricane force winds still probably at least 24 hours away from either the Louisiana coast or the Texas coast. Winds at 21 miles per hour sustained in New Orleans, but we just saw a gust up to 31 miles per hour. The center of the storm is over the top of one of our ocean buoys. It floats out there, and it gives us what the wave height is in the wind. It just caught my attention because right over the center of that storm where that buoy is, 35-foot waves about 200 miles due south of the Louisiana coastline. That's the type of wave action that's now being sent towards this region from Galveston to Houston. That's why everyone was asked to leave Galveston. In case this thing takes a left turn at the last second, those huge waves and storm surge would head for your region. So that's why all those evacuations, that's why everyone's stuck on the roads, just in case this thing takes that left turn. These things are very unpredictable. We've been watching these and studying these forever. I've extended our models. We've been showing you these as we've been going throughout the last week about where the projections are. On the coast is where I was showing you in the past, the landfalls. The thing I'm shaking my head at now is that over the last 12 to 24 hours, almost all of our computers now have this thing stalling out. Look at all the different lines here that take this thing and do loops. They take it up and drift it out. They take it to Dallas and then back to Central Texas. Some take it north and then some take it back towards Corpus Christi. So In other words, once we get the landfall, we're going to be dealing with probably 48 to 72 hours of heavy, heavy rain. The legacy of this storm may not be the storm surge like Katrina. It may not even be the winds, although it should be very significant. It may end up being areas that get 1 to 2 feet of rain well inland that have significant flooding. Areas like Shreveport, all the way down to Lake Charles, Lafayette, Port Arthur, Beaumont. You could see some of the worst flooding you've seen, maybe possibly ever, if this thing stalls out over the top of you. So that's what we're currently watching. There's just many facets to this storm. We're waiting for the new track update from the National Hurricane Center. We don't think it's going to shift much, if anything, just slightly closer, probably to that Texas-Louisiana border. Again, it should be in minutes. As soon as I get it, ladies, I'll be bringing that to you.
Hey, Bill, when we were watching Katrina approach, we talked a lot about the specific geography of New Orleans and why the storm would be so bad there. I'm curious about the northern section of Louisiana, or the coastline there of Louisiana. You said yesterday there's a lot of swampland there. How would that impact the residents who live there? Would it be better or worse for them?
Well, with Katrina, remember those pictures we showed you from Bay St. Louis and also from Biloxi and Gulfport? This area where Katrina hit along the coast, the water goes right up against it. There was no marshy, swampy areas to protect that and kind of break up those large battering waves. And then the storm surge came in, and then the waves. I could ask Buddy, our weather producer, to kind of click on the map here to show the coastline where we're expecting the landfall to take place. This whole area down here, from just about outside of Houma all the way back towards the immediate coast, all the way to the Texas border, this is all swampy. The population in there is only somewhere between about 5 to about 15,000 people, and they're going to have significant effects, but it's not really populated until you get about probably 10 to 20 miles inland. And that's why if that storm surge comes in there, those little tiny towns in here will be devastated, but the areas 10 to 15 miles inland will be okay from the storm surge. Then just have to worry about the devastating winds and the possibility of some record flooding.
Okay, Bill Cairns, NBC Weather Plus meteorologist. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Cities along the Texas coast look more like ghost towns today as hundreds of thousands of residents hit the highway to get out of Hurricane Rita's strike. NBC's Jay Gray is standing by live in Galveston. Jay, are you starting to see some of the effects of the storm like we are seeing right now in New Orleans?
Well, you know, we're really not at this point. Let's talk a little bit first about those people that are evacuating. You know, we have thousands of people in their cars, some of them bumper to bumper not moving. They are experiencing record highs, as you've talked about here. It's been 97 here today. It was 100 yesterday. So that's very tough on the people trying to get out. Some saying that usually what was a 2-hour trip has turned into 8-9 hours. As for the effects of Rita, let's take a look out into the Gulf here, and you can see the waves beginning to chop. Now, the locals here say it's been very calm, that the waters have been almost like glass. You can see it's beginning to pick up a bit here. And even though the storm has jogged a bit, they aren't letting their guard down here in Galveston.
Right now, it is a flood of evacuees making the biggest waves along the Gulf Coast. Thousands are bailing out as Rita barrels in.
90% of our residents have left the island. It feels like a ghost town.
The storm has shifted its target a bit, but Galveston is still in the danger zone. There's a mandatory evacuation order here, but not everyone is leaving.
Y'all don't make those own decisions, but when you see that...
Firefighters could not convince about 20 senior citizens to leave this retirement center.
This building isn't going to collapse.
Those who are still behind are boarding up and keeping a close eye on the track of the storm.
Hopefully it'll move a little bit further north between now and the time that it actually hits.
Rita does seem to be making a turn, the worst possible news for Louisiana, already battered by Katrina.
We must move our people. Everyone in coastal areas south of I-10 must evacuate.
The damage will no doubt be severe. This is a massive storm. But the emotional hit may be even more intense, especially for those who have been on the run for almost a full month now.
I wish I would just lay here and die. I went through Katrina, and it was a nightmare. It's still not over.
In fact, the worst from Rita is still to come.
And again, now a look out at the Gulf, the pier, which is usually packed this time of year. It is empty right now, as is this town, like we've talked about. Thousands of people moving out of this area, moving to higher ground and safety. And even if they don't take a direct hit here, they will see some very severe conditions in Galveston. They will surely see some very strong hurricane force winds. And there is a concern about water coming up over the seawall, as well as the massive amounts of rain they could see in some of the low-lying areas. Live in Galveston, I'm Jay Gray. Alexis, back to you.
Thanks very much, Jay Gray, in Galveston Live.
Well, we want to turn our attention now from the Gulf Coast to the West Coast, where California has just experienced an earthquake. It was a 4.0 earthquake under Wheeler Ridge, California. That's north of Los Angeles and south of Bakersfield, California. No immediate reports of damage or injury. And, of course, 4.0 for Californians who experience these kinds of earthquakes is not really something to get too worked up over. But, again, so far we haven't received any reports of damage or injuries. We are told, however, that 4.0 was felt as far south as Los Angeles. So there's the update there. Turning back to Hurricane Katrina. In Louisiana, residents are gearing up for round 2. And this time, the government intends to be prepared for the worst. Joining me on the phone from Baton Rouge to talk about last-minute preparations for Rita, Major Ed Bush, who's the Public Information Officer with the Louisiana National Guard. Major, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
How prepared is Louisiana this time around?
Well, we're just, as far as our preparedness, we're, speaking for the Louisiana National Guard, we're just driving on with what we've already started. We've more or less repeated the same process that we repeated before. We've got thousands of soldiers who, many of whom were already on duty, starting days before Katrina, and we're pushing those soldiers into packages and teams and pushing them southwest now, getting them prepared to react as they can best react.
You know, Major, for many people, what you repeated the time for the last time around, Katrina, it didn't really work for a lot of the people who were stuck in New Orleans. So this time around, what has changed in terms of preparing for Rita and how the National Guard will respond?
Yeah, again, and keep in mind, I can talk to the National Guard piece as a guy who was on the ground, in the Superdome and at Belle Chase from early on. What the National Guard set out to do absolutely did work. And again, I can't speculate on and talk to the pieces that didn't work. But coming from the aspect of soldiers and airmen, what we provide is trucks and vehicles and helicopters that can move around and get where they can need to go. Oftentimes, the first ones to arrive. And our challenge is to try and move those relief packages as close as we can. And attack this and provide relief from a couple of different fronts, whether it be heading south and then heading west. So, we're pushing thousands of soldiers to those positions where they can move south immediately and then move west immediately and get in and help those parishes that need help the most.
Yeah, I know that our attention this time around is going to be focused much more on Lake Charles and those areas that are west of New Orleans, because it does appear that that's going to bear a bigger brunt of the storm. However, New Orleans, the problem here, and we're already seeing it, is the rain and what the levees can hold in terms of the water. Are there any special preparations that you're taking for that city specifically?
No, because quite honestly, the advantage we have there is the people in those areas are largely gone, which certainly lessens that burden as far as the immediate danger of saving lives. That burden has been largely alleviated because the people are gone. That allows us to kind of focus on what we would consider to be probably a lot of high water immediate missions and a lot of the engineer efforts to get roadways clear and hopefully not move the masses of people that we had before.
One last question for you, Major. We have seen major evacuation traffic jam-ups in Texas. I know that the western part of Louisiana is far less populated, but are you experiencing any sort of those problems or gas shortages? Are you seeing that the National Guard is having to help out people who are trying to get out?
I don't think, from what I've seen, we've seen the congestion problems, i.e., no movement. From what I'm seeing, we're not seeing that in Louisiana. You've got more avenues out from those southwest areas than you do typically out of the New Orleans, and obviously you don't have the major massive concentrations of people that we had in New Orleans as well.
Right. Okay, Major Ed Bush, thank you for giving us an update on the National Guard movements and how you guys are setting up for Hurricane Rita. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
And right now we're showing you some live pictures in this 4-screen here right now of the situation, the traffic situation throughout the Gulf Coast region from Galveston throughout Houston. I-45 you see backed up. You're seeing some scenes on the bottom left corner there of the waves that are starting to come in as we're seeing some of the effects of the storm. I should just mention that President Bush does plan to fly to Texas tomorrow to get a look at the preparations for Hurricane Rita's arrival. He has not yet said where he intends to land in Texas, but that he will make a stop. And just before we go to the break here, let's take a look once at the closing bell numbers.
Closing Bell Report is brought to you by Sprint Business. Sprint Business, yes you can.
Sprint Business is reinventing the yes man, turning the yes man into someone who can work from almost anywhere. And now that Sprint and Nextel have come together, you can work in and out of the office more efficiently, the way 96% of the Fortune 1000 already do. So if saying yes from just about anywhere with speed and confidence makes me a yes man, I'm a yes man.
With Sprint Business, you can make just about any place a workplace. Yes, you can.
It came into our lane, and no blinker, no anything. My sister wasn't paying attention as well as she should either.
Mom was really scared. There was total chaos.
That way, but the drunk driver was coming this way.
The car went like this, and the airbags went like...
And then I heard someone call for help. All of a sudden, they say, we're calling the ambulance now, and it says, are you okay? And then we say, yeah. Before something goes wrong. When something goes wrong. After something goes wrong.
Who's got our backs?
Someone should.
Someone should.
These are my closest friends. We laugh together, cry together, play together. Even our kids play together. But when it comes to our nutritional needs, we couldn't be farther apart.
That's why we've made Centrum so complete. With such a full range of nutrients, each of their bodies can put Centrum to work in the way that's best to help them stay as healthy as the day they met.
We've always been there for each other, and we're going to do everything we can to keep it that way.
With Centrum, you're more complete from A to Zinc.
Someone is saying yes instead of no to redeeming credit card miles. Find out who.
I'm on it.
No blacked out.
Brenda, you know we all say no, but I hear sometimes you say yes.
Go from no to no hassle with Capital One No Hassle Rewards. There are no blackout dates on any airline, anytime.
Should have worked at Capital One.
What's in your wallet?
Tonight, as Hurricane Rita bears down on Texas, Heat counts down the most powerful storms to ever hit the Lone Star State. On Countdown, MSNBC tonight at 8.
Update for Hurricane Rita. Let's go right over to Bill for that update.
Thank you so much. We got all the new information in. We're building the graphics as we're on air here, so stay with us. Important points to note. New Orleans is now under a tropical storm warning instead of a tropical storm watch. The tropical storm warning has been issued from north of the mouth of the Mississippi River, Pearl River, including metropolitan New Orleans and Lake Pontchartrain. Tropical storm warning is now in effect for the southeastern coast of Louisiana, east to Morgan City. As far as the hurricane warnings go, those have not changed. But that's the little piece of new information that New Orleans now under a tropical storm warning. And this is the brand new path that just came in. And unfortunately, the Hurricane Center is now looking like more and more likely we're going to have a hurricane at a Category 4 making landfall. That's their position here Saturday morning. So we may have been slowing this down just a little bit. A lot of our computers were saying it was going to slow down in this region. It looks like the Hurricane Center is agreeing with that a little bit. Now down to a possible Category 4. As far as the actual projected path there, that has been shifted ever so slightly, maybe by 10 miles or so to the right, but not closer to Houston and Galveston, further away from Houston and Galveston. This would take the eye, that worst portion, that eastern eye, through right along the border of about Port Arthur and Beaumont, and then heading back into Louisiana. The other piece of new information, ladies, the storm now is at 145 miles per hour, no longer 150. So we brought the winds down ever so slightly, but we're still expecting a Category 4 landfall in the next 36 hours.
Bill, thanks so much for the update. The hundreds of thousands of residents who learned the lessons from Katrina are now moving inland, and joining me on the phone to discuss how those evacuation efforts are going is Blaine Harden, national correspondent with the Washington Post, who is live in Galveston, Texas. Good afternoon.
Hi.
So just give us some insight. We've heard that most of the people have been evacuated from Galveston, but the big story we keep hearing about is all of the traffic throughout the area and the difficulty really getting up north. What are you hearing from people?
Well, the situation is that there are hundreds of thousands of people still stuck in traffic throughout the greater Houston area. A lot of them have been out there for 12, 14, 15 hours, have run out of gas, and are sweltering on the side of the road. The governor and the mayor of Houston are promising to deliver some gas to those who are stuck, and they've just, in the past couple hours, opened up the lanes, the inbound lanes on a lot of these freeways, so that people can flee away from the city using all 6 or 8 lanes or whatever's available. And that is starting to move traffic. We talked a couple hours ago to somebody who had gone 90 miles in 15 hours and was now pushing their car up a country road that was clogged with traffic near Beaumont, Texas. And they saw no outlet, no future for themselves except for pushing the car. They were exhausted and discouraged and incredibly frustrated.
Blaine, are you getting any sense there that the fear is growing because of the extreme heat? You know, with all those people now who are stuck in cars, we've heard some people deciding to turn around, but the weather conditions are really a problem.
Well, it is really hot, and it just makes you sick to be outside without air conditioning for very long. A lot of these people have been out there, as I said, all night, all morning, and much of this afternoon, and they are feeling, you know, really, they're scared and they're frustrated. The woman we talked to near Beaumont said, you know, there's no possibility of turning around because the traffic is behind them as well. But the city officials are now emphasizing that not everybody in Houston needs to leave. They're not ordering a citywide evacuation, that the evacuation only applies to those in low-lying areas who might be affected by a storm surge. And those people know who they are because there's been maps on TV all the time about those people. And those people who live in mobile homes and other vulnerable housing who think that they couldn't survive, strong winds. Those are the only people who are supposed to be evacuating. And they're sort of emphasizing that. Earlier in the day, the mayor had said, rather alarmingly, now is not a time for warnings, it is a time for evacuation. By afternoon, they were making clear that evacuation only applies to those who are in these vulnerable positions, and not everybody in the city of 4 million people.
Well, Blaine, it's certainly a tough road ahead. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
But of course, all those people in Houston have been watching the coverage of Hurricane Katrina. They saw what happened there when they didn't evacuate. And many of them are taking these warnings, regardless or not of whether they're mandatory or voluntary. And they just want to get out of the way of Hurricane Rita. Our coverage continues of Hurricane Rita right after this. We'll be back.
What's Chris Matthews' job? Newsmakers accountable. How's he do it? By playing hardball. Next, only on MSNBC.
Are you listening to your heart? You should. Heart disease is the #1 killer of women. Do something good for your heart. Smart Start Healthy Heart. The only national cold cereal with ingredients that may help lower both blood pressure and cholesterol as part of a healthy lifestyle. For a healthy heart, start here.
The drawing rooms of London had not prepared us for this new world. We were overcome by the very fruits and birds and trees.
Introduce yourself to the new classics from today's Ethan Allen.
The air was thick with perfume.
An unexpected marriage of simple elegance and timeless soul.
The seduction was complete.
Discover a modern take on classics. It's Ethan Allen, redefined. In stores now.
With more and more ways to communicate, how do you make faster connections? stronger papers, brighter inks, and electronics that are smarter, smaller, more energy efficient, and easier to use by using the right chemistry. Improving the things we all need is a goal worth talking about, and it's ours. Dow. Living improved daily.
Find exactly the new car you're looking for. Search actual inventories across the U.S. or within a few miles online at vhix.com. Just click Auto on Comcast.net.
Want a better job? Ready to make a move? Start your search for a better local job right now at PortlandJobFinder.com. That's where you'll find local employers that are searching for your talent, skills, and experience. PortlandJobFinder.com is easy to use and totally free for job seekers. Log on now to view hundreds of detailed job listings, upload your resume, and find a better job today. PortlandJobFinder.com. It's free for job seekers and good for business.
Well, with Hurricane Rita approaching just on the heels of Hurricane Katrina, there are bound to be a lot of comparisons from storm to storm and a lot of lessons learned as well. With us from MSNBC.com headquarters is Alan Boyle, science editor of MSNBC.com. Nice to see you, Alan.
Nice to see you.
So what kind of tools have the experts discovered they have at their disposal when it comes to dealing with hurricanes and their aftermath?
Well, a lot of the tools have to do with information management, as we're seeing already with Katrina and now with Rita. The information, the data, knowing who's going to be where, how we get in touch with who is an important part of recovering after a hurricane. And fortunately, a lot of the data infrastructure has been set up already. And so this is something that people have been working on maybe thousands of miles away from the hurricane, just putting together databases. There's one database called Katrina Safe, where people can enter their personal information, someone they're looking for, or if they're a survivor, and then can be matched up. And in fact, this particular database draws from about 30 sources and puts it all together. So it's kind of like one-stop shopping for finding people you're looking for.
I know a lot of the high-tech advances that have been made, or at least that experts have discovered that they can use, have to do with search and rescue. And after Katrina hit, we needed a lot of that because there were a lot of people who didn't evacuate.
That's right. There's a clearinghouse called the National Institute for Urban Search and Rescue that's done many, many experiments in this field, and some of them were deployed after Katrina, and they're already gearing up to deploy after Rita. And these involve miniature robots that can go into wreckage and look for signs of survivors or remains without endangering the people who may or may not have to go in there. Also, unmanned aerial vehicles that can fly above a disaster site and look around, and it takes a short turnaround time just to deploy these handheld planes to go up and look. You don't have to wait for a helicopter to do a rescue.
Well, hopefully they won't need those as much because we are, as we've mentioned, watching people evacuate. At any rate, MSNBC.com science editor Alan Boyle, thank you so much for sharing some of those nifty new advances. And like I mentioned, hopefully we won't need them.
Let's hope. Thanks.
Well, that does it for us. Our coverage of Hurricane Rita continues at the top of the hour.
Stay tuned for Hardball with Chris Matthews. Hope you enjoy your Thursday evening.
Big new hit show, Rita Cosby Live and Direct.
Monster Hurricane Rita continues to move westward through the Gulf of Mexico. At the same time, a cool front over the plains and Midwest triggers thunderstorms. I'm AccuWeather.com's meteorologist Jim Kosick with MSNBC. Chicago, Detroit, just a couple cities in the path of this front that will have some travel weather-related delays. Miami with a thunderstorm, minor delays, more so across the deep south over toward New Orleans. If you're traveling, do be careful out there.
Don't let your nest egg get away from you. Get objective financial advice instead. A.G. Edwards, for 118 years, fully invested in our clients.
This is a leap in unmanned systems that will save pilots from the most perilous missions. This, a breakthrough in composite technology to make airplanes stronger and more efficient. This is a new chapter in space. Satellites that will capture and repair other satellites. At Boeing, we do things others call impossible. Doing the impossible is one of the things we do best. Boeing, forever new frontiers.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Sprint Business is reinventing the yes man, turning the yes man into someone who can work from almost anywhere. And now that Sprint and Nextel have come together, you can work in and out of the office more efficiently, the way 96% of the Fortune 1000 already do. So saying yes from just about anywhere with speed and confidence makes me a yes man. I'm a yes man.
With Sprint Business, you can make just about any place a workplace. Yes, you can.
Hurricane Rita. For live reports from the scene and up-to-the-minute tracking of this massive storm, turn to MSNBC and the NBC Weather Plus team.
Preemptive strike, Bush to beat Rita to Texas. Under heat for his response to Katrina, President Bush plans to hit Texas tomorrow to show he's ready for Rita. Let's play hardball. Good evening, I'm Chris Matthews. The agony and the exodus. Hundreds of thousands of people on the Texas and Louisiana Gulf Coast have battened down the hatches and have gotten out of town as Hurricane Rita closes in. An estimated 1.8 million people were under orders to evacuate, causing major traffic jams. Look at that thing. Gas shortages and hotels filled the capacity. The very latest on Rita in a minute. Some big political news today. The Senate Judiciary Committee approved John Roberts' nomination as the next Supreme Court Chief Justice in a 13-5 vote, virtually assuring he'll be confirmed by the entire Senate next week. 3 Democrats joined 10 Republicans on the committee for that vote of 13-5. More on that later. First, the latest on Hurricane Rita. We have reporters across the Gulf Coast, and we begin with MSNBC's Rita Cosby, who's in Galveston. Rita, are you getting a break here now? Is it going to head more to Louisiana? What's the latest?
Well, they're still expecting it's going to be hit hard right here, Chris. We are getting a little bit of a break because now we may be on the left side of the storm. If you look at sort of where the cone comes in, usually it's the right side that gets the torrential winds, the heavy rain, just the dousing flooding. We're expecting we're still going to get severe flooding, but maybe not as bad. But still, what they are preparing for is something very severe here. You know, it looks like a nice sunny day today, Chris, here in Galveston. But they are predicting 24 hours from now, we will absolutely have tropical storm force winds. There will be massive flooding. In fact, an ominous sign, Chris, just a few minutes ago, I was talking to the city manager here. He is saying the seawalls here at their highest point, somewhere between 15 to 17 feet. He is predicting that there might be a storm surge, some waves crashing at 50 feet. So we're talking that a 35-foot wave could actually come over and enter into our hotel room, into much of the city. And if that happens, it could be disastrous. They are preparing, they're saying at the very least, for probably a Category 3, maybe a Category 4 hitting here in the next 24 hours or so. Chris?
Rita, you scared me there. Your hotel room, you are planning to leave tomorrow morning, right?
Unfortunately, I am not. But the good news is, Chris, we're in probably the safest building on this island. Galveston is a tiny barrier island. It's about 2 to 3 miles wide, about 30 miles long. It is extremely vulnerable. But the good news is the hotel that we're staying at, it's called the San Luis Hotel. It's actually built on a bunker. It was used by American troops and also others that were coming in. Basically in the late 1800s, early 1900s, literally a garrison was based there in the bunker. There is a secure area in that building, and if things get too ferocious outside, we'll be trying to report from outside as long as we can. But if it gets bad, we're going to be in that bunker. And they believe that that bunker 100% will be able to sustain even Category 5 winds. We'll see if it does.
Well, good for you. I hope it does, obviously. Let me ask you about the human politics of this catastrophe to be. Is everybody out of Galveston? 260,000 residents there regularly. How many are still around?
They're predicting somewhere between 3,000 to 5,000 are left. We've seen a couple people that have been surfing today. You can see some of the white caps. It's actually not a bad day to go surfing. But, you know, an ominous message. It's crazy, of course, to stay here at this point. All the city managers, the mayor said, look, if you stay here beyond the next 2 or 3 hours, at this point, it is at your own peril. You're crazy to stay here. However, we have seen maybe about 3,000 to 4,000 basically staying here on the island. A lot of folks say that they want to ride it out. Their homes actually were able to stay up. Most of them, they're saying, past the 1900 hurricane, which of course devastated this island, and they believe if it was able to handle that, they're hoping it can handle this one. Of course, most of the folks who are staying, Chris, are a little more inland. We're right now on a causeway right along the seawall, right where, of course, it's going to just get pounded tomorrow night. Most of the residents are a little further inland, but here inland means just a few blocks. It doesn't mean a few miles, and you can bet their places are going to be flooded. They basically predict almost every building on this island will have severe damage. Hopefully our hotel will be standing and be in one piece.
Assure me, if you can, Rita, that those guys surfing, especially that excellent surfer we're watching on the tape there, they're not going to stick around and try to ride the storm surge, are they?
No, they're not. In fact, we've talked to a number of surfers today. They say they're taking advantage of today. In fact, a lot of people are getting out. The bad news is there's so much traffic. I mean, suddenly to have thousands upon thousands of people leaving just this area, 1.3 million, Chris, all up and down sort of the Texas coastline, because the whole coastline is particularly vulnerable. Just massive traffic. Normally it takes about an hour from here to Houston, which is just about 60 miles north of here. I'm told someone who just drove it a little bit ago, it took 6 to 7 hours. Traffic is backed up. People are actually losing gas while they're waiting there on the freeway. There's even fuel trucks that are gassing up people who are losing gas as they're waiting in line. And we're told as far as the surfers go, some folks are enjoying today, but most residents, I think we're just going to see a slim population that will actually stay tomorrow. And those who are staying, Chris, are going to be battening down the hatches. They're going to be in their homes a few blocks in.
Speaking of batting down the hatches, those people waiting in line there for hours and hours may want to go to the bathroom at some point. That is going to be a challenge for all concerned, as well as getting gas. What an awful way to spend a day. Anyway, thank you, Rita Cosby. Great report from Galveston. Take care of yourself.
Thanks.
Lock the door tomorrow night.
Thank you, Chris.
As we've been reporting, the traffic leaving the Houston metropolitan area is at a standstill. NBC's Ron Blum has been stuck in traffic and joins us now by his mobile phone somewhere near Port Arthur. Ron, thanks for joining us. What's it feel like out there?
Well, Chris, it's very frustrating for people. And actually, we were running mostly against the traffic, so we had fairly clear sailing while we watched people creeping along at 2 and 3 miles an hour. Then we hit one area where we averaged 5 miles an hour for 2 hours, so we made 10 miles in that. At that rate, it would have taken us 5 more hours to get to Beaumont. So we've diverted down to Port Arthur, which is we're almost on the Louisiana line, which is now where that dotted line of landfill has kind of wavered over from Matagorda Island last night when we went to bed, so we're more into it. And let me just tell you, the overwhelming impression here is refinery, refinery, refinery. This is a huge part of the nation's gasoline. There's 24 refineries from here all the way through Houston. We know that we lost 10 or 12% of our capacity with Katrina, and you're looking at maybe another 20% of the gasoline refining capacity right here. So, even if this doesn't do the extensive damage to the homes that Katrina did, and there's no indication to realize that it might not, it's going to shut down the refining thing. Look for a big spike at the gas pump.
So we have a supply and demand problem. Supply goes down, demand stays the way it is. We're going to get a higher price at the pump.
Absolutely. And, a part of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is located over in this direction, too, so that may make it harder to tap. That's what they tap when they lose production out of the Gulf.
That's where the salt mines are?
Yeah, some of the salt domes are here, that they use.
Unbelievable. It's all happening
very
at once.
frustrating. I mean, they put 1.8 million people out here on these on the interstates and the highways leading north, and people are going to be very frustrated. And when the rains start to come in tomorrow and the winds start, and if they're still stuck along the side of the highway, people are saying, what happens if we run out of gas? Will somebody pick us up?
Yeah, and also
the government's
your car,
trying to get some fuel tankers in, but it's a tough situation.
And also your car gets overheated like that. You can see what happens. Anybody who's been in traffic knows the car overheats, the fan belt gets heated up, everything goes wrong. The engine gets very, very hot when it has to do that for 3 or 4 hours. Anyway, thank you very much, especially if you've got an old car. Thank you very much, NBC's Ron Blum. Now let's get the latest on which way Rita is heading right now. This is the latest NBC Weather Plus report from meteorologist Bill Cairns, who's standing by at the Weather Center. Bill, I'm becoming a weather nut here for the first time in my life. I'm not the kind of guy that reaches for the galoshes in the morning or even thinks about it. But now it's part of my job, so tell me the nuance. Can you actually project these constant, almost geometric turns now in this direction of the eye of the hurricane?
the fluctuations that occur with this, especially in a tense storm like this, Chris, are very erratic. There's wobbles to the right, there's wobbles to the left, and in the short term, they do affect that final landfall. I also want to point out to you, Chris, that we saw those pictures of the traffic there. I just looked it up. It's 98 degrees with a heat index of 102 currently in Houston. That's what all of those people are sitting in currently. Imagine sitting there if you're trying to conserve fuel and you got your AC turned off. 102 is the heat index. You know how hot it gets in a car.
What's your engine heat going to be, too? Think about that.
Yeah, it'd be absolutely miserable to be in one of those cars with a whole family trying to keep them cool, and you're trying to keep your cool, too. Let me talk a little bit about what's the new stuff out from the Hurricane Center, Chris. Winds are down to 145. The storm is not weakening as quickly as I had hoped. And unfortunately now the Hurricane Center is actually bringing it on shore as a Category 4, definitely. Notice the bands here already heading up in the southern portions of Louisiana. What also changed with the latest update is that New Orleans is now under a tropical storm warning. Already raining hard. Slidell, New Orleans, and Biloxi, Gulfport, all those areas devastated from Katrina. It's already pouring, and it could rain in some of these areas for about 72 hours. At least from now, tropical storm force winds and hurricane force winds are south of the coastline. The official forecast track has not changed much. It changed a lot at about early this morning. It went from south of Houston and Galveston to just north of there. And this is when we get a little more technical, because if you're on the right side of where the landfall is, that's where the storm surge is. Usually that's where the strongest rain and wind is. On the backside, it's still going to be windy, it's still going to be raining, but you don't have to deal with that storm surge. So where Rita was located there in Galveston Island, she wouldn't get those huge, huge waves in that storm surge if it goes on this projected track. So that would possibly save the city of Galveston. Any shift to the left, of course, between now and then would completely devastate the island. So that's why all those people are still getting out of there, and that's why you shouldn't return. And with this projection, about Saturday morning, so we have indications that this storm is starting to slow down. So this storm has so many facets to it. This storm, some of our computers now are actually stalling it out in eastern Texas for possibly maybe 3 or 4 days in between Dallas and Little Rock, and it could just rain and rain and rain. We've been showing you these graphics with these little thin lines on them, showing you the possibility of all our storm tracks. They all, for the most part, were taking it between Houston and about Lake Charles and then moving it up and bringing it up through the Ohio Valley. But not anymore. Look at all these squirrely lines on this map. All of our computers are all over the place. They do have that general landfall between Houston and Lake Charles, but after that, they just sit and rain this thing out. We could be dealing with some areas getting 1 to 2 feet of rain. And unfortunately, Chris, a lot of those little tributaries there, they lead into the Mississippi River. And of course, we all know where the Mississippi River goes. It heads through right downtown New Orleans. Luckily, those levees held up with the last storm. Hopefully, they'll hold up for this, too. So many facets.
Who's going to get the right punch right now, Ron?
The right punch is going to be, it looks like, Beaumont and Port Arthur. With the current forecast track, they would be in that eastern eye wall of the storm, and they would get it the absolute worst. It's very swampy land here. This whole coastline of Louisiana, the population is only somewhere between about 10 to 20,000, so there's not a lot of big cities down there, and all those people should hopefully leave. That's where the worst devastation would be. That's where those pictures that you saw, like in Pass Christian and Biloxi, Bay St. Louis, those houses just devastated. Those little tiny towns in there would be those ones that would probably be almost wiped off the map.
Hey, Bill, I'm the fastest talking guy I ever met, and you beat me.
That's hard to say.
You got more information out there than I've ever been able to do. Thank you, Bill, and I'm learning all the time. Thank you very much, Bill Cairns. We're learning about the right punch coming off the eye of a hurricane. That's what you got to watch for. President Bush will visit Texas tomorrow to get ahead of what's going on down there, get a look at what's coming, and also get a look at the preparations for this monster storm coming. Rick Perry, of course, is the governor of Texas, and he joins us right now. Governor.
How are you, Chris?
It looks like everybody's prepared. You've got a great evacuation going on. The question is, can all the people who are trying to get out, get out?
Well, I think we've got the, as you said, the right preparation in place. I know it's frustrating out there, and it's taken them a long time to get from point A to point B, but the fact of the matter is it's a lot better for them to be moving slowly than to be in this storm's path. This is a bad storm, and this is one that's going to do a huge amount of damage. So, you know, the TxDOT employees, the FEMA employees, our Homeland Security folks have done a wonderful job. It's just always hard to try to figure out what one of these huge monster storms is going to do. Your weatherman did a great job of showing all the variables there a while ago. So we're doing everything we can to make it as easy as we can for our residents to move to safety.
Let me ask you about the gas thing. People get stuck out here at North Capitol right here. You have that problem when you get one of these log jams or traffic jams. You wonder if you're going to run out of gas by the time you get off the road. You have a serious problem there, but look at these people, an all-day backup here. Are you charging these people for the gas you're bringing in when you go out there in the trucks?
No, they're basically delivering this gasoline and trying to get these people moving.
For free.
That's the last thing. That's the last thing on our mind is what the cost is going to be, and we'll worry about that later. We got the Air Force, we got the military, we've got TxDOT, our Texas Department of Transportation. We've got private sector folks that are making the best of a really bad situation. But the fact of the matter is, not everybody filled up 2 days ago when we told them that would be a very good idea, and so we're having to deal with some folks running out of gas. But our models and our evacuation plans, we knew that was going to happen. So again, we're just trying to deal with a pretty tough situation as positively as we can. I'm asking the people out there just to be calm, just to be patient, and we'll get you out of the storm's path. That's the most important thing. And frankly, as a lot of these folks are going to find out, is they're going to be able to return to safe, dry, intact homes. So if this storm continues to move east as we see it's doing, there are a lot of those folks in Houston, Texas, and in Galveston that are going to be able to come back to their homes, and that's the great news. And it's a tough situation, though.
What's holding up the traffic?
Well, first and foremost, you've got over 1.5 million people that are moving a relatively short distance of time. We've got 2 major thoroughfares. There's 210 miles of traffic in the Houston area that is one-way only. You've got I-45 and I-10 that are counterflowing on both sides.
Yeah.
Highway 290, because you can't block off the egress and the ingress into some of those roads like 290, you can't make those counterflow. For the safety of the people, you can't do that. So I mean, it's just plain old physics, Chris. The fact of the matter is, you can only cram so much volume through those types of highways. This morning, we started a mass mandatory evacuation of a lot of the Houston area when this storm changed its course again.
Yeah.
So again, you're trying to outguess Mother Nature, and sometimes that's hard to do. But the fact of the matter is, this evacuation is going relatively well at this particular point in time.
Are you going to be able to get those people off that Highway 10 by the time the storm hits?
I think so, and you can bet we're going to have a lot of resources out there, and as we already do, and getting these people out. We've already had, an extraordinary evacuation from the Beaumont to Houston area and Galveston already. So, you move 260,000 people out of Galveston, or 255,000. There's 5,000 souls that may be a little hard-headed or are staying to the last minute. But the fact is, we've had a relatively thoughtful movement of these people out of harm's way, and that's the most important thing. Every mile away you get from that the coast, the safer these people will be.
Well, it's great having you on, Governor. You seem to be doing a great
You're
job,
welcome.
and I root for you and the people of Texas, of course,
Thanks,
to deal
Chris.
with this situation. It looks like you're doing it. Let me just tell you something. No, you're not a great politician. You've sent me a Roger Clemens autographed baseball. I'm holding it up right here. And it's a really nice tribute, and I'm going to keep it with my Robert and Roberts baseball. I keep
The
up on my
Astros
shelf.
are 2 games ahead of the
But let me tell you something. They're ahead of the Phillies, and although I like this Roger Clemens baseball, you have not converted me. Okay,
when
I am
we get
rooting
to
for
the
the
playoffs,
Phillies. I am rooting. If we can get
we'll
those 2
invite you.
games, if we can get those 2 games from Philly to get up there and catch you guys, you're on a streak, though. I mean, you got a hell of a thing going.
We're ready to get back to baseball and get this hurricane behind us. So, keep us in your prayers.
So you're going to trade me the wild card for a better day tomorrow, but I'd be glad to accept that. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
You're
Yes,
a great
sir.
guy. Thanks
So
for coming on, Governor Rick Perry of Texas. As the Hurricane Rita tracks towards the Texas-Louisiana border, moving east. Any move to the north and east could spell trouble for New Orleans again. More rain. Those levees are threatened again. Coming up, the latest as crews in New Orleans try to shore up those weakened levees. Look at them in advance of the storm. Plus, we're going to talk to 2 Gulf Coast mayors about how they're preparing for this huge and dangerous storm. This is bigger than Katrina. If you're watching Hardball's coverage of Hurricane Rita on MSNBC.
Looking for a simple dinner? Just follow the recipe on Campbell's Cream of Mushroom. There's 5 meal ideas on every label, like Campbell's two-step chicken bake. Add Campbell's cream of mushroom to chicken and bake for a delicious dinner in 30 minutes.
This is good, Mom.
This is good, Mom.
Just came to me. Come home to a home-cooked meal with Campbell's.
I fight a war that never stops. I work in infectious diseases at GlaxoSmithKline. You know how hard it is to find a new drug? Think of it this way. One of these snowflakes will fight one kind of infection and be safe enough for people to take. A scientist here could work through 1 million compounds and find only one new drug. And then we start again, because bacteria develop resistance and new viruses appear. The war never stops.
GlaxoSmithKline. Today's medicines finance tomorrow's miracles.
As Hurricane Rita swings north, will New Orleans get socked for the second time in a month? Hardball returns after this.
Verizon Fiber Optic Broadband Network.
Connecting more people
to gaming, video, music, and each other. My job?
My job, make the network even stronger. Faster, more powerful.
With our growing team of experts, we're building the only large-scale, fully fiber optic network in America.
To deliver the next generation, phone, internet, and TV. I'm proud. I'm proud. I'm proud.
We're proud to be Verizon. Our people, our network.
Welcome. The rules in Finlandistan, Albaniastan are quite unique. I hope you had a chance to review them.
It's tennis. How different can it be?
It's not easy being out of your element, especially when it comes to insurance and investing. Genworth Financial and your financial professional can help you understand your choices and then make the right ones, so you'll be ready for whatever the future throws your way.
There's no better store for the expectant or new mother than Quality Medical Equipment and Supply. And there's no better time to visit than now, during our annual maternity sale. You'll find tremendous savings on breast pumps, nursing bras, diapers, nursing pillows, and many other items. Don't miss it, the annual maternity sale. It's going on now at Quality Medical Equipment and Supply. Products that make life easier. In the Quality 7th Avenue Medical Plaza in Hillsborough.
Northwest Rugs presents a sale of unusual proportions. With 20,000 rugs in stock, this Oriental and designer rug sale is the biggest, roundest, longest, best sale ever on unusual shapes and sizes. Save now on every rug with additional savings on specially reduced, hard-to-find shapes and sizes. From runners to room-sized rounds, Northwest Rugs has the size and shape you're looking for. And check out our fine furniture and accessories. Northwest Rugs, where only the price will be less than you expect. Carmen Drive, Wilsonville, Tannisbourne, and Jensen Beach.
Welcome back to Hardball. Even though Hurricane Rita is tracking towards Texas right now, any significant rainfall from Hurricane Rita could overwhelm the already weakened levee system in New Orleans. We know all about that by now. NBC's Michelle Hoffman is in New Orleans right now with the latest. Michelle, how's the rain?
Well, it's been getting really strong today. When we woke up this morning, I saw the first rain I'd seen since the Hurricane Katrina hit more than 3 weeks ago. Through the day, we started getting more and more rain, it closer and closer together. Now, we have a black cloud that's right overhead. Take a look at the choppy Mississippi River. It is just getting pretty bad out. And Chris, you have to remember that Hurricane Rita isn't even supposed to make landfall now for another 36 hours. New Orleans mayor just said in a press conference that he says that 50 to 60% chance that the New Orleans tropical.
We're lost, Michelle. We're going to take a little break now. That's Michelle Hoffman reporting to us where it's already soaking wet down there in New Orleans. We'll be right back. We're going to talk to two mayors on coastal cities about Hurricane Rita's path and what they're doing to prepare for it. This is serious business. You're watching Hardball on MSNBC.
Well, it wasn't until Hurricane Charlie was over the real danger began.
I'm State Farm Agent Dan Mann, and this is a true story.
I'm a diabetic, and so when the power goes out, that's real bad.
His insulin had to stay cold.
He brought me ice.
Plus a check for emergency living expenses.
Before my neighbor even heard from his insurance company. And with all the thousands of people that needed help down here, I felt like they're only one.
When you need someone most, nobody takes care of you like State Farm.
We'd love to prove it to you. Call an agent today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We could live in the city and see a show every day.
we could live at the beach and build our very own castle.
Discover the possibilities of today's Ethan Allen.
Or maybe a neighborhood where I listen to the birds sing.
Introducing the new casuals. Fresh, modern, irresistibly priced. It's Ethan Allen redefined.
Or we could live in the country and grow our family tree.
In stores now.
These are my closest friends. We laugh together, cry together, play together. Even our kids play together. But when it comes to our nutritional needs, we couldn't be farther apart.
That's why we've made Centrum so complete. With such a full range of nutrients, each of their bodies can put Centrum to work in the way that's best to help them stay as healthy as the day they met.
We've always been there for each other, and we're going to do everything we can to keep it that way.
With Centrum, you're more complete from A to Zinc.
At Regions Bank, we've always been proud of the fact that when our customers needed us, we were there. And now, in the wake of Katrina, we're working harder than ever to make sure that doesn't change. We're opening temporary branches, deploying a mobile ATM, offering special borrowing and deferred payment options, and have reopened over 200 of our affected branches. At Regions, we couldn't be prouder of our associates who have persevered through Katrina and done everything humanly possible to make sure we're still there for you, even in times of crisis. As the largest bank in the region, the Gulf Coast is our backyard. Its people are our neighbors. Their recovery and financial well-being is our mission every single day. Regions Bank, everyday confidence.
Tonight, as Hurricane Rita bears down on Texas, Heat counts down the most powerful storms to ever hit the Lone Star State. On Countdown, MSNBC tonight at 8.
We hope you can join us tonight for NBC Nightly News. That's on your local NBC station. We'll have for you the human drama unfolding on highways across Texas at this hour, plus how to know where Hurricane Rita is going to land. We'll have those stories and more tonight on NBC Nightly News. That's on your local NBC station. We'll look for you then.
As Hurricane Rita bears down on the Texas-Louisiana coastline, residents are heeding warnings now and evacuating. I'm joined on the phone by the mayors of two cities preparing for a direct hit from Rita. Oscar Ortiz is mayor of Port Arthur, who was on last night. That's in Texas. And Randy Roach is mayor of Lake Charles, Louisiana. That's in Louisiana, of course. Let me go to Mayor Ortiz. Mayor, how's it look compared to last night? You're getting more into the crosshairs here.
Yeah, we're getting a little more scarier, you know. This thing is looking right down our throat right now. And, of course, I went around today, as I said, and looked at some of the departure stations that we've got, and it's kind of heart-wrenching when you see some of these older people. Like I met one older gentleman who couldn't survive without his oxygen tank, just waiting to get onto that bus. At that same position, we had already sent 57 buses out of Port Arthur. The state has been very kind to us, of course. They sent us down something like 18 Greyhound buses this morning. They also sent out 2 C-130s that came into our airport about 3 hours ago to take some of the ones that couldn't travel by bus. So it's been an all-out effort by us, of course, by the state, and we're thankful to the state for the work they've done down here.
Let's talk about what you've learned from Katrina. Mayor Nagin of New Orleans was sort of the canary in the mines. You guys have been able to watch how he's behaved, and you know what I'm talking about. Have you learned anything, not to knock him, but have you learned anything about evacuation from the New Orleans experience?
Well, one of the things I've learned is to just get all the buses we can together. And that's one of the things the school district has been very good to us about, and that was one of the reasons why I asked the other day that all the schools be closed come Thursday and Friday, because I needed those school buses to move our people out. And so far, that's exactly what we've done. They've closed them off today, and tomorrow, and we've been taking their school buses and their drivers to move all these people out of here. Otherwise, we couldn't have done it. We'd have been stuck.
Where do the buses go?
Well, they're going north, strict north to Nacogdoches, Texas, and some of the other surrounding communities up there that we have an agreement with to house these people.
Oh, good. I was just wondering how you get people to get on the bus who don't want to get on.
It's not easy, I'm going to tell you. But I just keep telling them that all they got to do is look at the pictures of Katrina over there at New Orleans, and it kind of changes their mind right off the bat. This is a very dangerous storm. It's very large in size. It's a Category 5. We feel that by the time it hits the ground, it's going to be a Category 4. We also realize that the one that hit New Orleans was only a 3 when they hit the ground. We're looking at this one being a 4. So I just keep emphasizing to the people that this is going to be a lot of destruction around here. And, move. Get the heck out of there.
Yeah, it reminds me of Catholic school where they give you a little different color tags to put on you to tell you which bus to get on. Maybe you need some tough sisters down there to get people on those buses. You get on that bus. Anyway, let's go to Randy Roach. He's the mayor of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Mayor Roach, thanks for joining us by phone. You're also in that direction that this eye of this hurricane is headed right now.
Chris, we just got a report from the Weather Service, and it looks like, I hate to tell you this, Mayor Ortiz, but it looks like it's headed right over you, and that means it's going to come within probably about 25, 30 miles of us, just to the southwest of us. So that's the current trajectory on the storm. So we're in a briefing. We just got out of a briefing with the governor and the lieutenant governor.
What about the right punch? I hear that the right punch of these things hurts the hardest.
Well, that's the right side. You're right. That's the side we worry about. We're looking at a storm surge coming through our area, starting at the coast at around 20 feet. So it's going to push water pretty far inland. So we're getting prepared.
How many people do you have exposed on the coast right now, sir?
Right now, exposed on the coast, I
mean, are still in their homes, close enough to drown right now.
Not very many people, I can tell you. We're about 85% evacuated as we speak right now.
Mayor Nagin told me that before it hit New Orleans, he was 90%, but that left 50,000 people stranded.
Well, we've got about 185,000 people, almost 200,000 people in our area.
Yeah.
Cameron Parish to the south of us is a very small parish, about 10,000 people. They're almost completely evacuated. One of the things that you have over here in our area, we went through Hurricane Audrey in 1957. It was a devastating hurricane. We had over 500 lives were lost in Cameron Parish, a storm surge that came up and really did a lot of damage to the area. So you don't have to mention hurricanes and evacuation here very much. You get people's attention pretty quick.
Well, I want to mention FEMA, that big word. And I want you both to give me a report on how your relationship is working. Are you getting help from them? Have you told them what you want from them? Are they doing the job better than they seem to have done in New Orleans? We'll be back with Mayor Roach and Mayor Ortiz to get an update, a report card on how well the new FEMA is operating. Plus, we'll check in with Max Mayfield of the National Hurricane Center for the latest on where Rita's headed. We've been doing that all night. And on Monday, Hardball will be live from Rockefeller Plaza in New York. It's being transformed into Humanity Plaza. And you can help Habitat for Humanity build houses for the victims of Hurricane Katrina. We'll be joined by NBC's Katie Couric. That's Monday here on Hardball, only on MSNBC.
Looking for a mortgage lender who can put you on the fast track? Check out Ditech.com's flat fee purchase home loan. The total lender fee is just $395. Log on to Ditech.com or call 1-800-DITECH-1.
Ditech.com. Speed guaranteed.
I'm always here, working. A low profile on the high plateau, vanishing in the shadows of the buttes. Bred to be nature's neighbor, reaching miles deep for energy America needs. A natural gas well, meeting the demand in harmony with the land. But still more to explore.
Best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? You think you've seen the sun, but you ain't seen it shine. We till the warm-up's underway.
Wherever business takes you, Best Western is there. Best Western, the world's largest hotel chain.
Stay at Best Western this fall and earn double reward points or miles. AAA members can earn triple points.
All right, ready? Oh, strike one. Strike
When you
two.
were a kid, you made your own rules.
Strike 4, 5, 6, 7.
You still can.
Good hit.
Introducing Fair and Flexible from the new Sprint with no huge overages and no roaming charges. Now you make the rules, not your wireless company. Call 800-SPRINT-1 to get more control over your wireless plan. Fair and Flexible starts at $29.99 a month. Call 800-SPRINT-1 today. Sprint. Yes, you can.
You're a homeowner and you need cash. Call or log on to Ditech.com and take the Ditech Challenge. We'll guarantee you the lowest rate and fee and help you to consolidate debts and lower your payments, even if your credit is less than perfect. Call 1-800-80-DITECH.
Right now, Oregon kids are becoming better readers thanks to the efforts of the Portland New Car Dealers Association. Through their partnership with Operation Outreach, your local new car dealers help get books to kids who don't have books at home. Teachers are getting supplemental training materials, and Oregon kids are getting a chance to succeed and excel. Feels good to know our kids benefit from the generous support of the Metro Portland New Car Dealers, Operation Outreach, and Comcast Cable, making a difference for Oregon's kids.
The conditions on the Gulf Coast continue to deteriorate in the wake of Hurricane Katrina.
No matter where you live, this kind of news affects us all.
The important thing to remember is that you can play a part to help those in need. Visit redcross.org or call 1-800-HELP-NOW.
Because you don't have to be a celebrity to play a part.
Make a difference. Play a part.
You'd be saving lives.
Rita Cosby takes you live into the path of Hurricane Rita as the massive storm bears down on Texas. Rita Cosby live and direct. MSNBC tonight at 9. Scarborough Country with Joe Scarborough. Tonight at 10 only on MSNBC.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Colette Cassidy. Here's some other news we're following for you tonight. The Senate Judiciary Committee approved the nomination of John Roberts to be Chief Justice of the United States. The vote was 13-5. Roberts also met today with senators. The full Senate is expected to confirm Roberts late next week. We'll have more ahead on Hardball. After a 2-hour Pentagon briefing, President Bush vowed to keep U.S. troops in Iraq until the job is done. He said, quote, "The only way the terrorists can win is if we lose our nerve and abandon the mission." President Bush also says Jordan's King Abdullah agreed during a White House meeting today to meet with the leaders of Israel and the Palestinians. They'll talk about the next Mideast peace moves after Israel's withdrawal from the Gaza Strip. And Coretta Scott King went home from an Atlanta hospital today, more than a month after suffering a stroke and a mild heart attack. Her doctors say she faces more therapy, but is expected to make a full recovery. Those are your headlines. I'm Colette Cassidy. Now back to Hardball.
Welcome back to Hardball. We continue to follow Hurricane Rita, now a very powerful Category 4 hurricane. And we have with us two mayors from cities directly in Rita's path right now. Mayor Oscar Ortiz of Port Arthur, Texas, and Mayor Randy Roach of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Mayor Roach, how goes your relationship personally with FEMA, the newly headed FEMA?
Well, Chris, as far as I'm concerned, that they're doing a pretty good job. We've got bus drivers down here. We're loading buses. We're getting people out. We've already moved out about 1,500 people, so I really can't complain. I think they've done a good job. The drivers are very cooperative. They're working with the people. They're helping us load people on. I mean, they've got a paratransit bus, and they really are working very well with us. I appreciate it very much.
Gentlemen, stay with us. We want to get to the very latest on Hurricane Rita right now and where it's headed. We're joined by the director of the National Hurricane Center, Max Mayfield. Can you give us a sense of where the landfall is likely to be, Max?
Well, Chris, it looks like it's headed towards the extreme upper Texas coast here, and I don't really want anybody to think that we can absolutely pinpoint that landfall. We currently have it coming in between Galveston Bay and Sabine Pass, but if it makes landfall just to the south of Galveston Bay, then all that storm surge will be pushed up into the Galveston Bay. If it comes in a little further to the northeast there, Beaumont, Port Arthur, and even well over into Cameron and the Lake Charles area will have the biggest impact.
How strong is it? Getting weaker or stronger right now, Max?
I think we're going to see some fluctuations. The winds had come down a little bit this afternoon, and just a few minutes ago we had an aircraft report. The pressure has actually dropped again a little bit, so we're going to see some fluctuations. I think before it gets to the coastline, the sea surface temperatures and the upper level environment may not be quite as favorable, and we may see a little bit of weakening, but that's almost of no consequence. People need to be preparing for a strong Category 4 hurricane.
So with cold calculation, without any anticipatory hype, this is going to be stronger than Katrina.
It will be similar to Katrina, and the greatest potential, as in Katrina, is still going to be, for the large loss of life, is still going to be from the storm surge.
And what height do you expect the surges to reach? landfall?
It depends exactly where it makes landfall, but easily 15 to 20 feet if it stays this strong with the battering wave action on top of that. And then after that immediate storm surge threat on the coastline, we have to worry about the winds and the rains and tornadoes spreading inland. What we're concerned with there, in 4 to 5 days, it may really slow down, and that's going to increase the chance for the inland, the freshwater flooding. And historically, we've had a loss of life from that too. So people need to be very, very careful, even for several days after landfall.
We've been referring to Rita as a big sister of Katrina, but that's just obviously rhetoric. Is there a serial connection between one hurricane hitting and then 3 weeks later another big one hitting in the same season?
No, we've had major hurricanes before. Well, last year we had 3 major hurricanes to hit Florida, so that is not unprecedented, but it's certainly pretty unusual to have 2 this strong, this close.
Are they all independent variables? In other words, I mean, is one related to the other at all?
Absolutely not.
Okay, I'm learning every night here. Thank you very much, Max Mayfield, sir. Thanks for joining us. He's with the National Hurricane Center. We're back now with Mayor Oscar Ortiz of Port Arthur, Texas, and Mayor Randy Roach of Lake Charles. Mayor Ortiz, your turn. How's your relationship and your planning going with FEMA?
Well, I think I should rather talk more about our working arrangement with the state of Texas. In the last 3 days that I've been in the middle of this thing, with very little sleep, I've seen only one FEMA representative here. Our contacts have been mostly with Governor Perry's office, which has been just tremendously supportive of our efforts down here. I mean, Governor Perry, we've had him on the phone, on conference calls. He promises this, he promises that. He's been delivering on his promises. As I said, this morning we got in 18 Greyhound buses. We got the 2 C-130s in to get those people in. So Governor Perry has been very, very cooperative with the city of Port Arthur, and we appreciate that, because we know that as this progresses closer to that storm hitting us, that we're going to even need more help. And, of course, again, it's always a problem of getting people out, convincing people that this is a hurricane that is going to be so devastating that they're going to be talking to their grandchildren about it. So we just hope they continue to take our word and continue to move on.
Mayor Roach, I hear just a couple minutes ago, I got it through my ear as we went on the air, that Governor Blanco of your state, Louisiana, is telling people who want to stick back, who want to stay on the coast, to write in indelible ink their Social Security numbers on their arms. Is that a practical solution to finding bodies, or is it a scare tactic that might be useful to getting people to move?
Chris, I haven't heard that. That's a new one to me. I had not heard that, but I would wonder whether or not she actually said it. But if she did, I'm sure she was very concerned about the potential for loss of life and wanted to get people's attention as to the seriousness of the storm. This is a very serious situation. It's something that we all are trying to make sure that everyone understands the urgency of the evacuation, and we're trying to move people out. We've already moved 1,500 people out of Lake Charles, and we've had tremendous support from area agencies. Our local emergency preparedness organization and our network of mayors and our what we call police jurors, which you would call county commissioners, has just been tremendous.
Right.
Tremendous support from the state, and General Landino is here. So it's primarily a local effort, but when you're talking about FEMA, I got to give credit to those guys that were here in those FEMA buses from Virginia. They didn't ask to come. They were directed over here, and they're doing a great job of working with people and getting them on buses and getting them out.
Were they Virginia officials or federal officials?
They're just from Virginia, but they work for FEMA.
Right.
They were FEMA buses. They had the little FEMA label on the bus and I mean on the little notice that was taped up to the window there. But these guys are really, really great, and I really appreciate their cooperation.
Mayor Roach, what are you doing about looting? Do you have that problem yet? Because a lot of people are afraid to leave the coastal areas and leave anything valuable behind, like appliances, electronic equipment, because somebody can come running into their house, bash down the door, and take what they want.
Well, we've got our law enforcement with our sheriff and our city police. We've got our officers still here on duty. We will stay patrolling. We haven't had any problems yet. You can walk down the street in Lake Charles right now. It looks like a ghost town.
Okay, let me quickly go to Mayor Ortiz. Your question, because it was such an issue with New Orleans. I mean, looting. We heard a case the other night on this program about that senior citizens' home, where these residents were being taken out of there, and as the storm hit, so did the looters. Right on the same moment, they showed up with the water. incredible
We're not going to put up
horror.
We're not going to put up with that down here. I've already made the people aware that, and pretty soon tonight we're going to move most of our police department out. We'll have a skeleton crew working, but we have a standing policy that when the winds get up to over 50 miles an hour, then I ask the police department, fire department to completely clear out. But then we'll block off the entrance to Port Arthur and allow nobody in unless they have a special pass signed by me. So I think we got a pretty good control of that.
Gentlemen, let me do a minor public service here and encourage your residents to get out of town, because just think about what it's like for the people in New Orleans now and how smart the people were who got out and how endangered, if not dead, the people are who didn't get out. So think about it if you're watching this program. Obey your mayor. Anyway, thank you, Mayor Oscar Ortiz of Port Arthur, Texas, and Mayor Randy Roach of Lake Charles, Louisiana. New Orleans is racing to shore up its already battered levees. This is an ongoing story. Will the levees hold again? They didn't hold the first time. Will they get through this one? It's a Category 4, just as tough as the other one. And when we return, we'll talk to a New Orleans City Councilwoman who says there hasn't been enough funding to maintain the levees. We're going to talk about that because I'm thinking there may have been some foul play here with building with inferior materials, cheaper construction, graft. Government officials are planning Russian roulette, some people say, with people's lives. This is Hardball, only on MSNBC.
We're investing over $1 billion in North America. It began with a new design and research center and test track in California, a new engineering facility in Michigan, and now a state-of-the-art assembly plant in Alabama, creating thousands of new jobs across the country. The result will be a Hyundai like you've never seen before.
Objective financial advice. It's right for any nest egg, regardless of size. A.G. Edwards. For 118 years, fully invested in our clients.
Online, in person, over the phone. At Allstate, you can do business however you want. It's a 24-hour world. You deserve a 24-hour insurance company. That's Allstate, stand. Are you in good hands?
Looking for a simple dinner? Just follow the recipe on Campbell's Cream of Mushroom. There's 5 meal ideas on every label, like Campbell's two-step chicken bake. Add Campbell's Cream of Mushroom to chicken and bake for a delicious dinner in 30 minutes.
This is good, Mom.
This is good, Mom.
Just came to me. Come home to a home-cooked meal with Campbell's.
Still ahead as Hurricane Rita bears down on the Gulf Coast. Will the battered levees in New Orleans hold? Hardball returns after this.
Lots of Wi-Fi users work in coffee shops, which aren't always the best places to work. Wouldn't it be great to work wherever you wanted instead of only in hotspots? Now you can with Verizon Wireless Broadband Access. Wi-Fi only works in limited locations, while Broadband Access is the nation's largest high-speed wireless broadband network and is expanding coast to coast. Now get unlimited access at a great price, so you won't get stuck in a not-so-hot spot. Verizon Wireless, we never stop working for you.
Your call will be answered in 30 minutes.
My car ready yet?
Whatever happened to customer service? At DHL, it's alive and well.
I'm on it.
Call us and see how we're changing the way the shipping business does business.
All design begins with a single line. A line that challenges. A line that creates power. Or control. Or size. A line can make what's functional emotional. At infinity, a line has been drawn.
Hurricane Rita. For live reports from the scene and up-to-the-minute tracking of this massive storm, turn to MSNBC and the NBC Weather Plus team. Tonight, did the government learn a lesson from Katrina that will save lives in the path of Rita? Joe is live on the Gulf Coast on Scarborough Country. MSNBC tonight at 10.
Welcome back to Hardball. Hurricane Rita may be taking aim at eastern Texas and southwest Louisiana currently, but torrential rains and storm swells could overwhelm New Orleans' fractured levee system and flood the city again. Cynthia Hedge Morale is a member of the New Orleans City Council and said that when it came to protecting New Orleans, the federal government was playing Russian roulette with people's lives. Councilwoman, thank you. You know, the New York Times and the Washington Post on the same day yesterday had major front page stories saying that the levee system and the flood wall system in your city, protecting your city from water, may well have been built with inferior building materials or construction and design. Do you think that's the case?
Oh, I know that's the case. I've been out in my district inspecting the flood walls that were constructed, especially one on the London Avenue Canal that was completed in 2004 and is held together by a piece of rubber.
You mean rubber connects those long concrete slabs?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a thick piece of rubber that's kind of slid in between them. And the purpose, they told me, was to make sure that the water didn't seep through. The purpose wasn't to keep them standing tall and keep the water out.
Do they look to you just as common sense to be strong enough to hold back a 20-foot surge of seawater?
No.
Well, why didn't other public officials, and yourself included, notice this before?
Well, I was elected in April of this year.
Okay. Well, you're covered. But let me ask you this. Weren't there issues with the people of the communities asking for greater protection over the years?
We have been asking, and the original designs that we looked at in that area are not the designs that were finally installed. You have to realize that in the last 6 years, the Corps of Engineers has every year taken approximately a 20% cut on this particular project. So what you have is probably the original drawings and the original engineering plan more than exceeded expectations for our city, but what we finally got was something totally different.
Yeah, you got a seawall instead of a levee. Let me ask you this. Are you worried about another whack?
I'm terrified of another whack.
Where do you see it breaking again this time? Same place?
Same place, sure.
London?
They've put... London Avenue had 2 breaches, and that had a negative impact on 3 different neighborhoods that were historic neighborhoods that had been there for over 50 years.
Are people
and
getting
they were
out
all
of
property owners?
Are people getting out of the way in case the storm, just the drenching, if not the eye of the hurricane, the drenching that comes from the peripheral hit by the storm? Are they ready to get out of there?
We have never had an opportunity to move back.
Well, that's good.
The waters have, yeah, it's good in one way and bad in another because, I mean, we've been out of our homes for almost 3 weeks going on 4.
Well, I hope the people down there, I hope people like you keep making noise while it counts because this country's only going to listen for a few months. As you know, a couple months of attention is the end of it.
I think something's blowing over. I agree with you. I intend to demand that we have a hearing, that we look into it. I want to thank the New York Times and the Washington Post for investigating and bringing out issues that even I didn't know.
Okay, thank you very much, Councilwoman Cynthia Hedge Morrill of the New Orleans City Council. Coming up, a big political story here in Washington today. It would be the major story if it weren't for Rita. John Roberts has been approved by the Senate Judiciary Committee by a strong vote of 13-5, with 3 Democrats jumping aboard the bandwagon. We'll tell you more about that in a moment. This is Hardball on MSNBC.
If you're a homeowner with an adjustable rate mortgage, what happens to your monthly payment if the rates go up again? Want peace of mind? Lock in a new low fixed rate loan from ditech.com while rates are still near their 2-year lows. Call 1-800-71-FIXED.
Sprint Business is reinventing the yes man, turning the yes man into someone who can work from almost anywhere. And And now that Sprint and Nextel have come together, you can work in and out of the office more efficiently, the way 96% of the Fortune 1000 already do. So if saying yes from just about anywhere with speed and confidence makes me a yes man, I'm a yes man.
With Sprint Business, you can make just about any place a workplace. Yes, you can.
With more and more ways to communicate, how do you make faster connections, stronger papers, brighter inks, and electronics that are smarter, smaller, more energy efficient, and easier to use by using the right chemistry? Improving the things we all need is a goal worth talking about, and it's ours. Dow, living, improve daily.
Promise Buttery Spread helps maintain a healthy heart when eaten instead of butter or margarine. And now it's rich with heart health essentials like omega-3 and vitamins B6 and 12. Plus, there's no trans fat and lots of creamy, buttery taste. In fact, it's our healthiest and tastiest buttery spread yet. No wonder hearts are beating louder. New Promise Buttery Spread, taking your health to heart.
Whatever the season, when a storm gathers, so do we. The State Farm Catastrophe Team, a full-time force of 2,500 people whose only mission is to be there in times of crisis, working with local State Farm agents to bring help and hope to more people than any other company. And we'll be there for you, too.
Would you like to turn your equity into cash you can use for any purpose? Just log on to ditech.com for your free online e-appraisal. Right now we're offering a low fixed-rate home equity loan with a flat fee of just $49. Call 1-800-DITECH-1.
Let Empire Glass replace your cracked windshield, and we'll give you 24 free dinners to Sherry's Restaurants, where you'll enjoy great food and delicious pies all day, every day. And we offer free mobile service to your home or office. So for the highest quality windshields and 24 free dinners to Sherry's, call Empire Glass today at 503-251-9881. And remember, when you think glass, think Empire.
Northwest Rugs presents a sale of unusual proportions. With 20,000 rugs in stock, this Oriental and designer rug sale is the biggest, roundest, longest, best sale ever on unusual shapes and sizes. Save now on every rug with additional savings on specially reduced, hard-to-find shapes and sizes. From runners to room-sized rounds, Northwest Rugs has the size and shape you're looking for. And check out our fine furniture and accessories. Northwest Rugs, where only the price will be less than you expect. Carmen Drive, Wilsonville, Tennisbourne, and Jensen Beach.
We're continuing to follow Hurricane Rita as it barrels toward the Gulf Coast. But here in Washington, D.C. today, the Senate Judiciary Committee voted 13-5 in favor of John Roberts as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Joining me now is MSNBC's Chief Washington correspondent, Nora O'Donnell, and Dana Milbank of the Washington Post. Nora, 3 Democrats joined the 10 Republicans. Is that a preview of coming attractions, a big split among the Democrats?
It does indicate that the Democrats are divided on this, and that Judge Roberts could get, he'll get at least 64 votes at this point, and it could go even higher once other Democrats decide. But clearly there's no unity by the Democratic Party in opposing Judge Roberts to be Chief Justice. And of course, this has angered a lot of the liberal groups who deeply oppose Roberts.
Well, the pressure groups are mad, right?
Very mad, and will be interesting to see then how this shakes out when it comes to people like Senator Hillary Clinton, who of course is one of the front runners for 08. She has yet to say how she will vote. Her office will not say at this point, but she may have been given some cover today when it was somewhat surprising that Senator Feingold, the Democrat from Wisconsin, who's also considering running, decided to vote yes on Roberts.
Let's go to Dana for the big 3 questions. There's 3 major candidates running for president next time on the Democratic side, probably. Their names are Hillary Rodham Clinton, John Kerry perhaps again, and Joe Biden. Is it your sense, based on your reporting, that any of them will dare vote for John Roberts?
Well, right, but we would have said the same thing about Feingold, so they can take a chance. Now, look, this we're going to have another nominee up here probably in 6 weeks, and this gives them, the people who vote yes for Roberts, the credibility to vote no on that one, so they can calculate that this would be just a short-term hit with their base.
Is there any strategy that you've detected up there about the Democrats saying, we'll let you vote your conscience? I hear that's the word up there in the caucus, which means we're not going to try to hold a strong Democratic vote here, which means they don't want to look like they're just being partisan. Is that strategic to force the president to keep sending up these sort of less than far-right candidates?
Well, there's a sense among Democrats, perhaps accurately, that the president is going to send up a real strongly conservative nominee this next time just because he's got nothing to lose. And certainly the Democrats, well, in the view of Leahy and some others, do want to feel like they'll have some more credibility.
Well, Jack Germond, the great old liberal columnist, used to refer to the far-righters as full mooners. What's the risk for the president to send a full mooner up, Nora? In other words, if he risks a filibuster, risks some bad publicity, is that still feeding his conservative base? Does that still help him, even if he loses?
It may not help him, to send up someone conservative, but we'll see where the environment is, 6 weeks from now. But clearly this president has indicated that he's going to move forward, even though the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Arlen Specter, told the president, please wait a year. Let's see Roberts. Let's not exacerbate the tensions that already exist. Let's wait some time. Specter says O'Connor said she'd sit on the bench for a while longer, give the president some time. The White House has pretty much said no to that, and they're going to move forward probably as early as next week with the president's choice to replace Justice O'Connor.
Is that try it before you buy it logic likely to have any legs up there, Dana?
No, probably not.
I don't think so either. Dana, do you think they're going to hold off for a year and wait and see how this new guy does?
Oh, they've already made clear that that was just a non-starter from the moment Specter floated it. Specter even today was saying, the White House indicating as soon as they get a vote, perhaps next week on this nominee.
Yeah, he was funny. He said nobody exactly jumped up and said, what a great idea. Anyway, thank you. Once again, Nora O'Donnell, thank you, Dana Milbank of the Washington Post. I'll be back tomorrow night with full coverage of Hurricane Rita at 5 and 7 Eastern here on Hardball. And right now, the very latest on the hurricane on the Abrams Report with Dan. Dan.
Coming up, Hurricane Rita now expected to hit the Louisiana coast, veering north and east, threatening to be one of the most destructive hurricanes in history. That in an already devastated state. The rain has already started in New Orleans. This as Houston residents are in traffic jams nearly 100 miles long, running out of gas and time. Why is it taking so long to open up the other side of the highway? Plus, are oil companies and others taking advantage of the hurricane with higher prices? Price gouging. But some say, even if they are, it's just the American way. And tense moments inside a JetBlue airplane on its way to New York, forced to make an emergency landing. We've got the exclusive pictures. The program about justice starts now. Hi everyone, breaking news to report. Hurricane Rita looks like she is heading for Louisiana. The question, can New Orleans handle it? While the storm has weakened a bit, it remains a fiercely dangerous Category 4 storm with winds of about 145 miles an hour, stronger than Katrina when it hit the shore. We'll have live updates on Rita throughout this hour. But first, we go right to NBC Weather Plus meteorologist Bill Cairns for the latest on Rita's path. Bill.
Well, thanks so much, Dan. We're continuing to analyze the new information in from the Hurricane Center about where the storm is heading and how bad this storm is going to be. You can currently see here we are watching a huge storm. We're covering at least half the Gulf of Mexico with this storm. It did slightly weaken earlier today, but don't be fooled by that because it just was a slight weakening. It's still a powerful Category 4 storm, and right now it's the equal intensity to what Katrina was when Katrina made landfall. The eye of the storm is still very distinct out there, and the pressure, which is how we measure the storm, the lower the pressure, the stronger the storm, the higher the pressure, the weaker. This is still an impressive storm. The winds actually you'd think would be higher with the way this storm looks. So we could see fluctuations before landfall. The bottom line is that we think that it's actually going to be probably at least a Category 4 at landfall. We don't expect a lot of weakening between now and before it makes landfall, probably Saturday morning. Latest out of the Hurricane Center, they're saying it looks excellent on their radar. They have a big radar on the front of their aircraft as they're flying through the storm, so they get a good look at it. Max winds were about 140, and that pressure about 913. It's been fluctuating between 911 and about 914 during the day today, so it's maintaining its strength. It's not weakening anymore, and that's not what we wanted to hear. earlier, we had some bands of rain going through areas of New Orleans. First rainfall they've had in a while there. It's just going to be a quick dousing tonight. Could we see more significant rain as we go throughout the overnight hours into early tomorrow morning? I want to show you that New Orleans radar. We're also under a tropical storm warning. All of Lake Pontchartrain, including New Orleans, and just about all of the southern coastline here, the southeastern coastline, all those areas devastated by Katrina. We watched one band of rain going through. Now it's going to dry out for a little bit. Expect more later on tonight. As far as the winds go, currently, now all the tropical storm force winds are just off the coast, and this is where the devastating winds are, in this red area. It's kind of amazing. I just went and looked at one of our instruments that's out here floating in the Gulf that tells us how high the waves are. Right near the center, there was just a wave reported at 38 feet. Imagine a 38-foot wave. And if this maintains this intensity, that's the kind of stuff that we're going to be talking about slamming in somewhere between Houston and Lake Charles around the coast. Along with that storm surge, you're going to have these huge battering waves. It's very important that we need this storm to weaken before landfall. We don't want it being at this strength, or we're going to have another Katrina on our hands. But you have to remember, every storm is different and unique, mostly because the coastline is unique. It's very swampy here on the coastline of southwestern sections of Louisiana. That could break up a little bit of that storm surge and also break up some of those waves. As far as intensity, we're still expecting a 4. Here's the problem. It looks like now this storm is going to stall out after landfall. So we got the problem of the waves, the storm surge. We got the problem of the winds being a Category 4. And then on top of that, now we're going to add the issue of this storm possibly sitting in eastern Texas or portions of Louisiana through about Monday or Tuesday of next week. It'll weaken wind-wise, but there'll still be a ton of rain with this system. Some areas could get a foot to 2 feet of rain. And on top of that, all these rivers, we could have flooding. Inland areas, which you can't possibly evacuate. You don't know where the flooding is going to be. That we could have more problems. So, I mean, this storm is just extremely complicated, and its effects are going to be lasting well into this weekend.
All right. Bill Cairns, thanks a lot. All right, MSNBC's Michelle Hoffland is in New Orleans, where, as Bill just said, a tropical storm warning is now in effect. It has already begun to rain. Michelle, this is now hitting closer to New Orleans than initially expected. Has that changed anything in terms of response, reaction there in New Orleans?
That's making a lot of the officials here very nervous, and a lot of the people on the streets very nervous tonight as well. Starting this morning, we saw the first rain here probably since Hurricane Katrina hit here more than 3.5 weeks ago. We saw the outer bands of Hurricane Rita start swirling overhead in this area. If you look right now, you see the sky is completely black or gray with the clouds overhead. The clouds and the rain and the winds, they're coming in bands and they're getting closer together and stronger. The whitecaps on the Mississippi aren't bad right now, but boy, when the winds pick up, which happens every few minutes or so, there you can see whitecaps on the water, and you can see the waves picking up and the winds picking up. Up until a few hours ago, there was a cruise ship over there, a Carnival cruise ship that was housing the city workers here in the New Orleans area. That pulled out and is heading out to sea right now. Hurricane.
Let me ask you a question about the levees, and that is, now let's assume for a moment that this storm stays on track. Tropical storm hits New Orleans. What are the experts there saying about the levees? Are they going to hold?
They're not very optimistic at all, Dan. They're very nervous about these levees. You have to remember, some of them are just patched up with some sandbags, and they're very weak right now, and they're saying just a small storm surge could just blast holes in those levees once again. So they're even the experts are saying they're very nervous about those weakened levees able to hold up. There are some people that are out there right now trying to work on those levees, try to shore them up and make them stronger, but you know, there's only so much they can do with sandbags when they have big storm surges heading this way.
All right. Michelle, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. All right, take a look at these pictures. What's wrong with the scene here? Over 1 million people evacuating the Houston area the entire day, many moving no more than a mile an hour, mile after mile after mile. A traffic jam that goes back 100 miles. Many running out of gas. The question, why didn't they open up the other side of the road for people to leave the city? Judy Curtis is from the Texas Department of Transportation and joins us now. Ms. Curtis, thanks for taking the time. I heard the mayor on television saying that he had asked the Department of Transportation, it would now be 16 or 17 hours ago, he had said at the time 15 hours earlier to open up the other side, and he said it took 13 hours to do that.
Yeah, well, I heard what the mayor said, and we understand the frustrations of dealing with an evacuation that is unprecedented in the history of any state, including Texas. We are doing so much to get people out. As you probably know, we have opened up most lanes on 2 of the major freeways down there so that they all go one way. That should ease the problem. It's going to take a while, and we understand that. We cannot, however, open up lanes in the same direction if cars are still coming down in the other directions, as you see right now on your screen.
But why does it take so long to do that? I mean, I can see why it takes a certain amount of time to set that up, but this seems like it's the sort of thing that the minute the news came days ago that this hurricane could hit Houston, that plans would have been in place to do that.
Dan, the plans were in place. We cannot, however, shut down one way to get into a major metropolitan area for 3 or 4 days. We try to wait until the very last minute so that emergency supplies, et cetera, can continue to get into, say, a place like Houston or Galveston.
Why couldn't you just have one lane open going the other way? I mean, they do that in New York all the time with the tunnels, et cetera. You have one lane that's going towards Houston, and all the rest of the lanes are going the other way.
I don't know what piece of land we're looking at on the screen. I do know that I-45 and I-10 are one way all the way. One goes from Houston to Seguin, which is near San Antonio. The other goes from Houston to Fairfield, which is a little halfway to Dallas. But these things do take time. It takes law enforcement to go to each and every exit ramp or on-ramp to make sure no one's coming. We have to block those off. Law enforcement must stay there until they have heard from a guy with a walkie-talkie 10 miles ahead. It's clear. So it takes hours. We understand frustration. Safety is our key issue and our key concern, and we do believe that is going to, we will get everybody out of there safely. They're frustrated. They're thirsty. They're tired.
They're running out of gas, and they're pulling over on the side of the road.
We understand that. We're trying to deal with that. We have sent some trucks down. It is hard to get in there, as you can see. We're doing everything we can.
Was that, without allocating blame, and I mean, it sounded like the mayor was blaming your department, but without allocating blame, was this poor planning on somebody's part?
I don't think so. Again, I think this is an unprecedented event. In fact, what's also unprecedented is to open up the lanes in both ways. We don't have time for blame games now. We're trying to get people out of there safely, and that is what we're going to do.
Yeah. All right, Judy Curtis, good luck. You got a tough job ahead of you. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, Dan. Bye-bye.
Galveston could be Texas's New Orleans when Hurricane Rita hits. Completely flooded. The Army Corps of Engineers and the University of Texas Center for Space Research created this animation to show what could happen in a worst-case scenario. Galveston hit by a Category 5 hurricane. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look like that's going to happen either. But a 20-foot storm surge could completely engulf Galveston. Even a Category 4 could do very serious damage. The island is home to about 60,000 under mandatory evacuation now. But they're hoping lessons from the past and recent predictions that the storm is heading east will save the city. Storm in 1900 sent a 15-foot high wave crashing into Galveston, killing about 6,000 people, essentially destroying the city. In response, they built an almost 11-mile, 17-foot seawall along Galveston's shoreline. Joining me now is Colonel Steve Haustein, commanding officer of the Army Corps of Engineers in the Galveston District. Colonel, thanks for taking the time. So, how does it look?
Well, the storm is obviously several hours away from making landfall. Typically, hurricanes are very unpredictable, both in terms of where they will land and the strength of the strength of the hurricane at landfall. So obviously, there's a lot of folks watching it closely, but it's really too early to tell.
The levees in New Orleans, we heard again and again, they were prepared to withstand, to survive a Category 3 hurricane. And of course, leading many people to say, well, does that basically mean they were completely unprepared for a Category 4 or 5? How would you describe the status in Galveston?
Well, there's substantial differences between Galveston and New Orleans. The topography in New Orleans is such that a good part of the city is actually below sea level. Plus the Mississippi River and several canals go through and around town. The seawalls or the levees and seawalls in New Orleans physically have water behind them on a normal basis. Galveston is significantly different. It is a barrier island along the Texas coast, much like Padre Island, and it does not have water typically up at the seawall. The seawall was built by the Corps along with Galveston County following the 1900 storm, and the primary focus or primary purpose of the seawall is not flood protection, but energy dissipation.
What does that mean?
The hurricane will, or hurricane-generated waves will crash into the beach and up the beach, and will hit that seawall, and at 15 feet above mean low tide, that will take 15 feet away, 15 feet of water energy away, and prevents the waves from crashing into the populated area and the buildings directly across the street. In fact, by the seawall. So it really is an energy barrier, not a flood protection system.
All right, we're looking at pictures of people who are doing what surfers do before a hurricane hits, and when everyone else leaves town, they get in the water. That is until it gets real close, and then they, of course, get out of the water.
It's a beautiful day on the Texas coast.
Unbelievable. All right, the calm before the storm. Colonel, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Coming up, are oil companies and others taking advantage of hurricane victims with higher prices, price gouging? Some say even if they are, it's just the American way. Plus, a dramatic emergency landing of a JetBlue flight last night. Broken nose gear meant the plane might not have made it down safely. Passengers watched the whole thing on their in-flight TVs. We've got the exclusive pictures from inside. Your email, abrams report at MSNBC.com. Please include your name, where you're writing from. I'll respond to you on the show.
Tonight, as Hurricane Rita bears down on Texas, heat counts down the most powerful storms to ever hit the Lone Star State. On Countdown, MSNBC tonight at 8.
Administaff is like a coach for small businesses. They reduce liabilities and offer a systematic way to improve productivity. They provide big company benefits and handle the burdens of employer-related paperwork. Well, almost all the paperwork.
There's an even better way to care for your nest egg. Objective financial advice. A.G. Edwards. For 118 years, fully invested in our clients.
They say time is money, and we say you're wasting both if you don't rent from National Car Rental. When you join National's Emerald Club, you get to bypass the counter, go straight to the lot, and choose your own car. And the more you rent, the faster you earn upgrades. We've also streamlined the return process, so you just drop off your car and go. Now with our 1-2 free promotion, with 2 qualifying rentals, you get 1 day free. Go to nationalcar.com to register. National Car Rental, faster than the speed of life.
Sprint Business is reinventing the yes man, turning the yes man into someone who can work from almost anywhere. And now that Sprint and Nextel have come together, you can work in and out of the office more efficiently, the way 96% of the Fortune 1000 already do. So if saying yes from just about anywhere with speed and confidence makes me a yes man, I'm a yes man.
With Sprint Business, you can make just about any place a workplace. Yes, you can.
Oh, my darling, your last blossom beckons. I am so congested. If only my medicine could treat and help prevent these seasonal nasal allergy symptoms.
Only Nasonex is clinically proven to both treat and help prevent most seasonal nasal allergy symptoms, including congestion. Only Nasonex. Side effects were generally mild and included headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleeds, and coughing.
I have returned my flower, a changed bee.
For seasonal nasal allergy symptoms, Nasonex is the one to treat and help prevent congestion. Talk to your doctor.
Let Empire Glass replace your cracked windshield, and we'll give you 24 free dinners to Sherry's Restaurants, where you'll enjoy great food and delicious pies all day, every day. And we offer free mobile service to your home or office. So for the highest quality windshields and 24 free dinners to Sherry's, call Empire Glass today at 503-251-9881. And remember, when you think glass, think Empire.
This is Hurricane Rita, just over 24 hours from hitting the Texas-Louisiana coast. The latest information that the storm has moved slightly to the north and east, meaning that it is more likely to strike in Louisiana, meaning that New Orleans is likely to get hit with at the least some tropical storm winds. We are continuing to follow the path of Rita, and we are going to have updates throughout this hour on exactly what is happening. Now, on a related issue, supply and demand, right? Determines prices for almost everything. What about in the wake of a devastating hurricane? If you're trying to board up your house ahead of a hurricane and the price of plywood suddenly shoots up, or if you're stuck in a traffic jam leaving Houston and the gas that cost $3 a gallon yesterday suddenly costs $5 or let's say $10. If someone did that, 27 states, District of Columbia, have laws or regulations against price gouging in a declared disaster. 2 weeks ago, a Wall Street Journal editorial headline read, in praise of gouging, quote, in almost all cases, such laws are wrong-headed because they short-circuit the price system that matches price with demand. With Hurricane Rita now bearing down on Texas, the state's Attorney General's office has at least 100 complaints about price gouging, a crime that can be punished with a civil fine of up to $20,000 for each violation. Dr. Andrew Bernstein is the author of The Capitalist Manifesto and a senior writer with the Ayn Rand Institute. Doctor, thanks for coming on the program. Appreciate it.
Good to be here, Dan. Thank you.
All right. So you know that most people out there in the public are going to say, look, it's a good thing that in particular instances that the government steps in and says, we're not going to let them take advantage of the situation.
Well, I don't agree. I think there's 2 points that need to be made, Dan. One is the moral point, and that is if somebody owns property that I don't own, they have a price, they have a right to ask any price for what they want, just as I have the right to refuse that price. Also, the practical point is that on a free market, when the price rises, what that does is enables the producer to make more profit, giving them more motivation to increase the supply.
But the motivation argument's really not really relevant here, because you're talking about very small periods of time, and you're basically saying, oh, if they know that they're going to be, there's going to be a disaster and they can suddenly make more money in that particular period, they're going to produce more. I mean, come on, as a practical matter, that's not going to happen.
Well, again, I want to make 2 points. The moral point is in a free country such as the United States, which is not a dictatorship, somebody who owns property has the right to determine what price he wishes to charge. The government can't be granted the power to tell me what I can charge with my own property.
But don't we have, in this country, we generally have a free market system, but we also have certain protections. The government gets involved in certain industries to try to make sure that things are, in essence, done more equitably. And as a result, the market, the argument goes, ends up working better, more efficiently.
Well, I think that argument is false. I think the economists have exploded that myth many times. Remember, you said it before. Basic economics, prices rise when demand exceeds supply. What's causing the supply to be diminished here are environmental restrictions imposed by the government, preventing us from building refineries, preventing us from drilling in Anwar on the OCS, from building nuclear power plants. That's what's keeping the supply down and the price higher.
We're joined now by Greg Abbott. He's the Texas Attorney General. He's put retailers on notice that price gouging during a disaster is illegal, and he's going to go after them. All right, Attorney General, thanks very much for taking the time. Basically, what Dr. Bernstein is saying is he's saying that, look, somebody owns a piece of property, and they own something, be it gasoline, be it food items, be it whatever, and they should be able to sell it for as much money as they can get for it.
I'm the very first person to step up and believe that our free and open markets here in this country are very effective at setting prices. And that's the way it works all the time, except in times of crisis. In times of crisis, when people are literally struggling to try to protect and save their lives, it is not a free and open market. It's a market that's ruled, in this case, by complete uncertainty and people grabbing the first thing they can. And I might add, it is an artificially created market. In our efforts to go after price gougers, we found one instance down by the Gulf Coast where a gas station had 20 pumps that were available to provide gasoline for customers, but to create artificial demand and to decrease the supply, the gas station shut down half of those pumps. Until we stumbled upon it, we found it, and we caused them to open back up their pumps, and back again the price went to the normal gas price. But we're dealing with a situation where people are having to flee by the millions from the Gulf Coast in order to save their lives, and as a result, normal market forces don't apply. And it's only in these exceptional circumstances when law must step in and ensure that people will be protected and not built in emergency situations.
Dr. Bernstein, your response.
I don't agree. I think that, again, don't hit the American people with more of the poison that has caused the disease. It's governmental restrictions on the market, particularly environmental laws, that have caused the diminished supply.
You're talking macro.
More governmental restrictions simply exacerbate the problem.
But that's a nice macro argument. Let's talk specifically about what the Attorney General is saying. He's saying, I'm only talking about disasters. I'm talking about a very finite short period of time, period.
Again, what you do by diminishing the price below market levels is what that means is you're going to increase the demand. More people are going to want the product.
But everyone
because
wants
now it's at a lower price.
In a disaster. Everyone wants it. We know
The first law of economics is the lower the price, the more you increase the demand. That you increase the demand without increasing the supply.
But apart from the economics lesson,
all you do is cause shortages.
So you're saying, but again, you're talking broadly, and you're saying that there's no merit to the Attorney General's argument, which is that in a finite period, in a disaster, the wake of a hurricane for a short period of time, it's not a good thing for the government to occasionally step in.
Yes, that's right. What you do is cause shortages. What that means is people who want the product and have the means to buy the product cannot buy it because you've raised the demand without increasing the supply.
What do you make of that?
The argument doesn't make sense. Obviously, it's a theory. It's a theory that works in the macro context. It does not work in times of emergency. In times of emergency, we as a country have an obligation to help take care of those who are most vulnerable. We're dealing with real live people here, not with theories. We're dealing with people who are trying to flee a very deadly hurricane. And they have to get out of the hurricane's way. In order to do so, they should not be built by price gougers.
All right. Attorney General Greg Abbott and Andrew Bernstein, thanks very much to both of you. Appreciate it.
Good to be here, Dan. Thank you.
Coming up, an emergency landing on a JetBlue flight to New York. On camera, even inside the plane, we've got the exclusives from inside. Plus, John Roberts on his way to becoming the next Chief Justice of the United States. The vote today in front of the Judiciary Committee surprising some. And we're going to keep you updated on Rita's path. The latest developments from the National Hurricane Center are just minutes away. Plus, we're going to talk to a hurricane hunter who flew inside this hurricane.
He's a computer science professor from Iowa. He's slightly distracted. And this is Take On Orbit, the game that pits other travel services against Orbitz.com.
Today's contestants need a hotel in Hawaii for under $100 with a golf course. Ready? Go.
Hotel reservations.
Yes. Done. Orbitz makes it easy to find the right hotel at a great price.
Log on to Orbitz.com for your chance to be a daily winner of free travel. Visit Orbitz.com today.
Looking for a simple dinner? Just follow the recipe on Campbell's Cream of Mushroom. There's 5 meal ideas on every label, like Campbell's two-step chicken bake. Add Campbell's Cream of Mushroom to chicken and bake for a delicious dinner in 30 minutes.
This is good, Mom.
This is good, Mom.
Just came to me. Come home to a home-cooked meal with Campbell's.
Your Smart Start, miss.
You need 4 bowls of Smart Start to get the vitamin C in 1 bowl of Total.
Your grape nuts.
More than 10 bowls to match Total's calcium.
Chef recommends 2 spoons.
2 spoons?
Special K.
for you. And even 20 bowls of original Special K couldn't equal the whole grain in Total. Only Total has 100% whole grain, 100% of 12 vitamins and minerals, and 100 calories.
We'll take Total.
Sorry, no substitutions.
Total, one bowl, 100%.
Well, it wasn't until Hurricane Charlie was over the real danger began.
I'm State Farm Agent Dan Mann, and this is a true story.
I'm a diabetic, and so when the power goes out, that's real bad.
His insulin had to stay cold.
He brought me ice.
Plus a check for emergency living expenses.
Before my neighbor even heard from his insurance company. And with all the thousands of people that needed help down here, I felt like they're only one.
When you need someone most, nobody takes care of you like State Farm.
We'd love to prove it to you. Call an agent today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When a Gotti graduates,
2-3 months I'm in Boston.
I'll deal with that when we get there.
it's hard to say, arrivederci.
I have to go!
Then again, for them,
Nothing. What's it gonna take? That joke.
it's hard to say most things, like buongiorno Italia when they go to Rome. Get your passports. Get your Speedos.
You're supposed to be here trying to pick up the women, not to scare them away.
It's a new season of Growing Up Gotti. Mondays at 9 on A&E.
Want a better job? Ready to make a move? Start your search for a better local job right now at PortlandJobFinder.com. That's where you'll find local employers that are searching for your talent, skills, and experience. PortlandJobFinder.com is easy to use and totally free for job seekers. Log on now to view hundreds of detailed job listings, upload your resume, and find a better job today. PortlandJobFinder.com. It's free for job seekers and good for business.
Rita Cosby takes you live into the path of Hurricane Rita as the massive storm bears down on Texas. Rita Cosby live and direct, MSNBC tonight at 9. Hurricane Rita. For live reports from the scene and up-to-the-minute tracking of this massive storm, turn to MSNBC and the NBC Weather Plus team.
Coming up, tense moments inside a JetBlue airplane on its way to New York, forced to make an emergency landing. We've got the exclusive pictures. First headlines.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Colette Cassidy. Here's what's happening. Chief Justice nominee John Roberts won approval today by the Senate Judiciary Committee. The vote was 13-5. 3 Democrats sided with the Republicans on the committee. Roberts is expected to win final confirmation by the full Senate next week. More on that coming up on the Abrams Report. A suspect in the July 21st bombing attempt on the London transit system was returned to Britain from Italy. Hussein Osman was arrested in Rome July 29th. He and 3 others in custody face charges in the failed attacks on 3 subway trains and a bus. President Bush says Jordan's King Abdullah agreed during a White House meeting today to meet with the leaders of Israel and the Palestinians. They'll discuss the steps toward Mideast peace after Israel's withdrawal from the Gaza Strip. And 30-year fixed-rate mortgages inched up for the second straight week after the Fed hiked interest rates on Tuesday. The nationwide average is now 5.8%. Those are your headlines. I'm Colette Cassidy. Now back to the Abrams Report.
Hurricane Rita, now about 400 miles off the coast, expected to strike in about 24 hours. That's when the first of the major winds will be felt along the coast, although it will not officially strike till probably very early in the morning on Saturday. Now, 150-mile-an-hour winds. This is a Category 4 hurricane, but a very severe Category 4, teetering on the verge of the most severe, type a Category 5. That entire area has been evacuated, or they are in the process of evacuating, and we are going to have more on that later in the program, including someone who flew inside Hurricane Rita. But first, it defines the term dramatic television. Last night, a JetBlue airplane headed from Burbank to New York had broken nose gear just after takeoff. Wasn't clear whether the pilot would be able to land. Inside the plane, passengers watched, their lives hanging in the balance on their in-flight satellite TVs. We'll talk to an NBC executive who was on that plane in a moment. But first, NBC's George Lewis has a story.
Shortly after Flight 292 took off, the pilot informed the passengers he had a mechanical problem.
A malfunctioning nose wheel on the Airbus A320 was turned sideways and couldn't be straightened out or retracted.
The first unusual thing was I woke up and the guy next to me said they're having a problem with the landing gear.
On board, Dave Renitz took out his camcorder and taped a farewell message to his girlfriend, just in case.
Says, I love you. Everything is going to be groovy, but if anything happens, you know, take care of everything. Everything's yours. And, you know, shows to my mom, family, tell everyone I love them.
And as the pilot circled Southern California for those 3 hours burning off excess fuel, the whole nation watched on television. And so did the passengers, because JetBlue's planes have a satellite TV system that picked up the news coverage.
Once we saw that we'd made the national news on the little television screens provided by JetBlue, things got a little more tense in the cabin.
Some passengers held hands while others cried. Most of the people, according to those on the plane, remained calm. As the plane approached the runway at Los Angeles International, on board, the passengers were ordered to brace.
Brace, brace, brace.
As the broken nose wheel touched the runway, a huge cloud of smoke and a shower of sparks shot up from all the friction. But the plane did not catch fire, and the pilot was able to keep it straight down the middle of the runway as it skidded to a safe stop. And then, for Flight 292, the long ordeal was over. Passenger Alexandra Jacobs, 6.5 months pregnant, was overjoyed to be back with her husband.
My first thought was about my husband, and I was concerned that he would just, I mean, what a horrible thing for him if, you know, if you lost your baby and me.
But it all ended happily with no one injured. And one of the passengers, this cat, slept through the whole thing.
NBC's George Lewis, thank you. Among the 140 passengers on the plane were a few NBC finance executives. One of them is Michael Michelli. He's the VP of the NBC Universal TV Group Financial Planning and Analysis, and he joins us now. Michael, good to see you alive and well.
Good to see you. Thank you.
How long after takeoff did you realize that there was a problem?
I think it was 20 minutes to a half an hour the pilot came on and told us that there was a problem, and at that point we didn't know how severe it was. He told us that this plane was able to send a wire to a satellite, a signal to a satellite to the engineers in New York, and they could do some diagnostics. At that point they thought it was a sensor, and then they told us that we were going to do a flyby at Long Beach, and that's where we knew, okay, maybe it's a little bit more serious. And at that point, after that flyby, about another 20 minutes or so, they told us that there was an issue and the landing gear was turned 90 degrees, as you've seen in the videos.
And was the pilot straight with the passengers about what was happening, or did it take them watching it on TV to know how dangerous it actually was? And I'm not saying the pilot should have told people.
I think he was straightforward. I mean, he told us there was an issue, and before we saw it on TV, I believe he told us that it was turned 90 degrees. I really can't remember now specifically the timing of all that. But he was very forthright, and I also want to say very professional, and with a demeanor that I think helped the cabin remain calm, provided a lot of confidence in his ability. The crew members as well were extremely calm, almost to the point of upbeat, I think, to help people relax a little bit. Went row by row to help people if they needed anything. I think that they really created the atmosphere that helped to be successful as well in the cabin.
And from what we could see, he landed that plane almost perfectly.
Unbelievable. Probably the softest landing I've ever had ever. The way he landed it, it was really incredible.
Were you one of the ones watching it on TV?
I did. I watched it on TV until we couldn't watch it anymore.
Did they cut it off at some point?
Yeah, probably. It was probably more than an hour before we landed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we saw it probably for an hour, roughly.
Ooh, that's even worse, that you see it for an hour and then suddenly it's cut off, huh?
Possibly. Yeah. I mean, it was good, bad. There were times where I liked seeing it because I liked the technical aspects of what was going on and what they could do.
Yeah.
But when you heard some of the experts in the reality, it was it took you back a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, Michael Michelli, it's Good to see that everything worked out, and it sounds like the pilots really do deserve a lot of credit.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Coming up, Judge John Roberts now just one step away from taking the top spot on the U.S. Supreme Court. First vote was today, and Hurricane Rita getting closer to the Texas and Louisiana coasts. It has shifted path, heading more towards Louisiana. What does that mean for New Orleans? Plus, we're going to talk to a hurricane hunter who flew through Rita.
What cooks like butter, spreads like butter, and has a fresh dairy taste like butter without the cholesterol and high saturated fat? Smart Balance Buttery Spread. Smart Balance just received another Best Taste Award and is endorsed by professional chefs. It's the only spread with a patented balance of fats to help increase HDL good cholesterol and avoids trans fat naturally, not artificially as some spreads do. Smart Balance. You're going to love that buttery taste.
View on prescriptions has always been, honey, if you need it, take it. But lately, I wonder, do we always need a prescription? Like for my arthritis pain, is a prescription so much better than anything else? So I talked to my doctor. It turns out that I could take something that works just as well as prescription ibuprofen, but with fewer risks.
Tylenol arthritis pain is different. It works as well as prescription ibuprofen, and used as directed, no other pain reliever is safer.
In just over 24 hours, Hurricane Rita expected to strike the Texas and Louisiana coast. We're going to talk to a hurricane hunter who flew inside of the hurricane.
Sprint Business is reinventing the yes man, turning the yes man into someone who can work from almost anywhere. And now that Sprint and Nextel have come together, you can work in and out of the office more efficiently, the way 96% of the Fortune 1000 already do. So if saying yes from just about anywhere with speed and confidence makes me a yes man, I'm a yes man.
With Sprint Business, you can make just about any place a workplace. Yes, you can.
Hey, Adam. Just so you know, I'm sending Gus to the client meeting.
Why him?
Because Gus is a good conversationalist.
Is he?
Yes, and you answer everything with a question.
I do?
You just did.
Really?
Clients in Memphis don't like that.
They don't?
No.
Why not? Where's she going?
They chose you for a reason, and you chose Embassy Suites for a reason, like our nightly manager's reception. Embassy Suites Hotels.
Introducing E-Trade Complete. Control your financial world from one page and be free of ATM fees at any machine, any bank nationwide. In other words, be master of your domain. E-Trade Financial. Be extraordinary.
MSNBC Tonight. Did the government learn a lesson from Katrina that will save lives in the path of Rita? Joe is live on the Gulf Coast, asking tough questions and getting real answers on the game plan people have for this next massive storm. Scarborough Country. MSNBC Tonight at 10.
Hurricane Rita, now a Category 4 storm, packing winds of over 145 miles an hour, expected to hit landfall early Saturday morning along the Texas-Louisiana border. We'll continue to cover the path of Hurricane Rita throughout this hour. Judge John Roberts, one step closer to the Chief Justice's bench tonight. The Senate Judiciary Committee voted 13-5 today to approve his nomination. Today's committee vote clears the way for next week's vote on the Senate floor. Joining us now from Capitol Hill is NBC's Chip Reed. All right, so Chip, you passed the Judiciary Committee with that kind of vote, and it's fair to say it's almost certain he's going to be the next Chief Justice.
It is, unless there's some kind of political earthquake, it is certain. Now it's just a matter of vote counting. It's is it going to be 68 votes or 70 votes or 72 votes or 75? It's not entirely clear, but it is clear that somewhere in the vicinity of a dozen or 15 or 18 Democrats are going to join the 55 Republicans and give him a pretty good margin, 70 votes or something like that.
And Chip, surprises? Any surprises as to what the Judiciary Committee did in terms of the Democrats?
Yeah, the only surprise was there had been predictions early on that there were going to be as many as all 8 of the Democrats on the committee voting against him, and in fact 3 voted for him. And we're going to play a couple of sound bites here to explain how this happened. Now, basically what happened here is that Roberts made the case at the end of the hearing, you'll recall, and he kind of made it all the way through, but at the end he said, I'm not an ideologue. He didn't come out and say, I'm not a Scalia, I'm not a Thomas, but Democrats think that's basically the message he was sending. Now, the Democrats who believed him when he said that voted for him. The Democrats who did not believe him voted against him. Now, we're going to listen here to Joe Biden, a Democrat of Delaware, and Russ Feingold, a Democrat of Wisconsin, and they came down on opposite sides, even though they're both from about the same place on the political spectrum, and they're both believed to be running for president this next time around, and they came out with opposite conclusions. Let's listen.
Because Judge Roberts did not answer my questions, or I would argue any of your questions fully, he does not appear to share the same expansive view of fundamental rights of previous nominees I've supported. I'm unwilling to take the constitutional risk at this moment in the court's history.
Now, I have talked to a number of people who know John Roberts, or to people who know John Roberts. All of those I have heard from directly or indirectly, have seen him develop since 1985 into one of the foremost Supreme Court advocates in the nation, whose skills and judgments are respected by lawyers all across the ideological spectrum. They don't see him as a champion of one cause, as a narrow ideologue who wants to impose his views on the country.
So, on the Judiciary Committee, Dan, those 8 Democrats are generally to the left of where Democrats in the Senate are. There are no red staters on that committee, Democrats. But when you get to the floor of the Senate, a lot of red staters out there, so it is expected that he will get quite a few more votes, and again, probably get about 70 votes on the floor next week.
Could it have had any impact that Senator Feingold was in the same law school class as John Roberts?
It's certainly conceivable. Dan, you and I went to the same law school.
That's true. We weren't in the same class, though. We weren't in the same class.
They didn't know each other back then, but they certainly may have had some kind of bond because they went to Harvard at the same time and in the same class. Hard to tell, but Feingold obviously did a lot of talking to people who knew John Roberts outside the Senate. And that seems to be largely what convinced him that this guy is a lawyer's lawyer. He is not an ideologue in the mold of Scalia or Thomas.
But Chip, if you were voting on me, you wouldn't vote for me because we went to the same law school, right?
No, but for lots of other reasons.
Yeah, you'd have a lot of other really good reasons.
Absolutely.
Chip Reed, thanks.
You bet.
Yeah, I'm going to be nominated. Coming up, Hurricane Rita, still spinning towards the Louisiana-Texas coast, is now about a day from making landfall. We'll check in with the National Hurricane Center. They have classified Rita as an extremely dangerous storm. They have got the very latest information right after the break.
New Promise Buttery Spread helps maintain a healthy heart when eaten instead of butter or margarine. And now it's rich with heart health essentials like omega-3 and vitamins B6 and 12. Plus, there's no trans fat and lots of creamy, buttery taste. In fact, it's our healthiest and tastiest buttery spread yet. No wonder hearts are beating louder. New Promise Buttery Spread, taking your health to heart.
Oh, my darling, your last blossom beckons. I am so congested. If only my medicine could treat and help prevent these seasonal nasal allergy symptoms.
Only Nasonex is clinically proven to both treat and help prevent most seasonal nasal allergy symptoms, including congestion. Only Nasonex. Side effects were generally mild and included headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleeds, and coughing.
I have returned my flower, a changed bee.
For seasonal nasal allergy symptoms, Nasonex is the one to treat and help prevent congestion. Talk to your doctor.
At Regions Bank, we've always been proud of the fact that when our customers needed us, we were there. And now, in the wake of Katrina, we're working harder than ever to make sure that doesn't change. We're opening temporary branches, deploying a mobile ATM, offering special borrowing and deferred payment options, and have reopened over 200 of our affected branches. At Regions, we couldn't be prouder of our associates who have persevered through Katrina and done everything humanly possible to make sure we're still there for you, even in times of crisis. As the largest bank in the region, the Gulf Coast is our backyard. Its people are our neighbors. Their recovery and financial well-being is our mission every single day. Regions Bank, everyday confidence.
Search through hundreds of thousands of used cars across the U.S. or within a few miles. Online at bx.com. Just click Auto on Comcast.net.
On MSNBC, Rita Cosby is live.
Live from New Orleans, from Houston, from this island of Aruba.
And direct.
Did you believe that you were going to die? Did he reveal something to you? So why did you kill him?
And that's why nobody brings you the big stories, the big interviews like Rita Cosby.
We're going to break news. We're going to make news. What you've heard so far is just the beginning.
Rita Cosby live and direct, cable's new hit show. Weeknights at 9 only on MSNBC.
It is now a Category 4 storm, less than 400 miles off the coast of Louisiana and Texas. Joining me now for the latest on the storm, Max Mayfield at the National Hurricane Center. Thanks for joining us. So what else do we know?
It's still a very, very dangerous hurricane, and it's actually moving over a warm eddy in the Gulf of Mexico, meaning that it really has additional high-octane fuel, if you will. The upper level environment is favorable, so I really wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a strengthening again tonight. We'll likely see some fluctuations between now and landfall.
How would you compare this to Katrina?
Right now, it's every bit as strong as Katrina was at landfall. If this makes landfall even close to this intensity, there'll be similar damage. 15 and 20 feet of storm surge near into the east or where the center crosses the coast. And it's also a large hurricane that will indeed impact a large area. And the storm surge will impact not only the Texas and Louisiana coast, but there'll be some impact even over into Mississippi and Alabama.
What about New Orleans?
Well, we extended the tropical storm warning over to include all the southeastern coast of Louisiana, including New Orleans and Lake Pontchartrain, primarily because we think they'll get tropical storm force winds and these squalls and these rain bands that are passing through. I doubt if they'll have sustained tropical storm force winds for any extended period of time. So that's not the main concern there. I think one of the biggest problems they'll have is the rainfall. Even well out there to the east, they'll likely have 3 to 5 inches of rain, and that's the last thing those folks need to hear.
And this hurricane may stall as well, right, which could increase the rainfall?
Well, once it makes landfall, it's going to keep moving up until, it's going to make landfall probably very early on Saturday morning, and then as it moves up here on Sunday, after Sunday or so, they're likely in eastern Texas, it likely will slow down considerably, and that really increases the rainfall threat inland. And there could be, if it does what we are afraid it could do here, we could have some rainfall amounts, even 25 inches, and that's also the potential for a loss of life. People, we keep making the same mistakes over and over, people driving their cars through these flooded out roadways, and the National Weather Service has a great program. It says, turn around, don't drown. If you can't see that road in front of you, just don't drive there.
During Katrina, right before Katrina, you actually called local officials, didn't you? And you said, "Hey, this is real serious business." Are you doing the same thing now?
I called a few. No, I don't think there's any need on this one. I think everybody is really paying attention to this, and in fact, if there's anything good to come out of Katrina, and it's sure pretty hard to find anything good out of that, I think it's just the fact that people have been reminded of the power of a major hurricane, and these evacuations started in Texas even before we put up the hurricane warning. So my hat's off to the folks on this one for taking this very seriously and getting people to move away from the coastline.
All right, Max Mayfield, thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Joining me now, someone who actually flew into Hurricane Rita to take pictures and measurements. Once again, Commander Tom Strong with NOAA joins us. All right, Commander, we've got some new photographs, some new video of your organization planning and plotting going into a hurricane like Rita. Give us a sense of how you plot and plan to go into this sort of massive hurricane.
Well, I'll tell you, when they're that large, they're not hard to find, but we're going to start our day about 3 hours before takeoff, looking at satellite imagery, plotting a course to get there, allowing for the direction that it's moving. We'll set up about 105 or 110 miles out with our nose radar and just aim for the center. Depending on the winds, we'll shift to left or right to make sure we hit it dead on. The last thing we want to do is make a glancing blow off the eye and never get that few minutes in the eye itself.
If you get hit, as you point out, if you get hit by the edge of the eye, the plane can survive, correct?
Yeah, actually, every time we go through, we're going to penetrate that eye wall. There's no way to get around that. We pick our way through the worst, but eventually you've got to go straight through it.
And we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but how severe is the turbulence when you're going through 150-mile-an-hour winds?
From what I've heard, the crews coming back today say it was pretty bad. When I say bad, it's hands are maybe coming off the controls. It's a little bit hard to read the gauges, so you start targeting airspeeds and altitudes, a range of them instead of a specific number. So you're getting bounced around quite a bit, but we've got everything strapped down. People are strapped in and holding on tight.
And so the point you're making is the people who are out there today are saying, even comparatively, compared to other severe storms, this one is a real doozy.
It is, and what is unique about this one is the actual size of the hurricane. Today they had hurricane force winds, 180 miles across, so about 90 miles each side of the center. And that's pretty large for us. That means that most of the day is spent buffeting through that eye wall.
How do you go about becoming a hurricane hunter? I mean, do you say as a kid, I'd love to fly through those things?
Everybody has come in a different direction on that. I think it's a dedication to duty, just like the military, trying to do something that you think matters.
It's a risky, it really seems like the kind of job where you got to enjoy a little level of risk.
You do, and but you learn to mitigate a lot of that, and it's a great skill to learn.
Commander, keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
All right.
Looking for a mortgage lender who can put you on the fast track? Check out Ditech.com's flat fee purchase home loan. The total lender fee is just $395. Log on to Ditech.com or call 1-800-DITECH-1.
Ditech.com. Speed guaranteed.
Good people of Troy, accept this gift from your Greek friends.
A wooden horse. Seems like the kind of thing that a small army could crawl out of at night and lay waste to our entire city. Have a nice day.
Hindsight is easy. It's thinking ahead that's hard. But that's how Liberty Mutual serves our customers and why we're one of the world's leading insurance companies.
Have a good day. See you tonight.
Okay.
Introducing the all-new Suzuki Grand Vitara.
You want more out of life? We're giving you the green light. Go.
Here I was, just 58, and I could barely walk. The pain in my hip kept me up all night.
I knew this arthritis pain was not going to beat you. I just knew it.
Not without a fight.
Hip replacement surgery is not for everyone, and recovery takes time. But Marcy was ready, so her surgeon told her about the range of new techniques and advanced technology.
To receive more information about hip replacement, call 1-877-4MY-HIP-1.
Marcy didn't have any conditions to keep her from having surgery, and she was willing to work hard at rehabilitation. Success also depends on age, weight, and activity level.
There came a point when I realized my arthritis pain was gone. What a glorious feeling that was.
Ask your orthopedic surgeon whether hip replacement is right for you, or call 1-877-4MY-HIP-1.
It really wasn't easy, but I'm so glad I didn't wait.
A message from DePuy Orthopedics Incorporated, a Johnson & Johnson company.
How many days is 3 weeks?
21.
Won't you miss your room?
A little bit.
Won't you miss Rocky?
You know what I'm gonna miss the most?
What?
This face.
Mr. Buckley, welcome to Residence Inn.
Residence Inn. All suites with all the comforts.
You're a homeowner and you need cash, call or log on to ditech.com and take the Ditech Challenge. We'll guarantee you the lowest rate and fee and help you to consolidate debts and lower your payments, even if your credit is less than perfect. Call 1-800-80-DITECH.
Hurricane Rita. For live reports from the scene and up-to-the-minute tracking of this massive storm, turn to MSNBC and the NBC Weather Plus team.
We're back. It's time for your rebuttal. Seems a lot of you have a lot to say about my spirited response to some of yesterday's emails. Dennis writes, Dan, take a chill pill. You're really turning it on. Seriously, the little gestures towards the camera. Get back to being that professional legal expert that I remember from the OJ trial. Dennis, is a long time ago. When I get riled up, I let it show. Brittany McClear seems to like it. It's so entertaining when you get like that. Thanks. And Gordon Welch from McCalla, Florida, is watching a lot of weather these days. My wife and I are big fans. We're wondering if you're related to Stephanie Abrams of the Weather Channel. Of course. Stephanie and I met in meteorology school. It's my wife. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I'm not related to her that I know of. I'm watching a lot of weather too, though. And we're going to be watching weather throughout the evening here on MSNBC as we follow Hurricane Rita. Your emails, Abrams Report, one word, at MSNBC.com. We go through them at the end of the show. Thanks for watching. Up next, more on Rita with Chris Matthews.